Well, what do you know? Cheeky Monkey and their limited release. They're at it again, this time with the Quarry's Hazy Tropical Pale Ale. Mate, T-Bone loved this one. I loved this one. Namu loves this one. It's a Hazy Crusher, 5.2%. You got to love the limited release, Hazy Tropical Pale. Check it out. The Quarry's.
Yes, and also look out for the Main Break Hazy IPA as well. That's available on tap at selected venues around the southwest and Perth. It is coming up to winter time. As we say in Barrel Surf Podcast, it is a good time to get yourself a glass or a bottle or even a case of Forester Estate wines, Adam.
Oh, man, I've been loving the Lifestyle Shiraz 23 vintage. It's won about 74 gold medals. It's hardly, you can't even see the label anymore. It's just all gold medals. And, mate, it's very reasonably priced, especially if you go on their website, chuck in the coupon BARRELLED for 25% off, and, mate, you are drinking a $100 bottle of wine for about $20. It's killer. Forester Red.
Your beauty, Forester. Ooh, it is a bit chilly these days. And the great thing about chilly waters in the southwest and Australia and worldwide is getting yourself a Shark Eyes wetsuit. The best rubber in the business. Give it a try. You will not be disappointed. Yeah, Shark Eyes wetsuits.
Yeah, Shark Eyes.
Wax. We all love wax. Get yourself some Dr. Crack wax. It's a new product from one of the local legends in the southwest, and it is the Duck's Nuts. Dr. Crack Wax. Yeah, Dr. Crack.
Barrel Surf Podcast.
Barreled Surf Podcast.
Barrel Surf Podcast.
Barreled Surf Podcast.
Barrel Surf Podcast.
Barrel Surf Podcast.
Yeehaw!
All right, we are back. Barrel Surf Podcast, coming at you from the wilds of Western Australia. Namu here in the Sheckwaters. And as usual, to my left, we have Adza Kennedy. Looks like he's going through his notes. Can you talk, mate?
Yeah, mate. I actually don't have any notes. And as per my usual modus operandi, I'm putting all of 2 minutes preparation into this potty, and I'll squiggle down a couple of questions, and we'll throw them at our special guest that we've got in the shed tonight.
Well, you've got 2 minutes. I've got no minutes, and T-Bone's got 2 hours. That's kind of how we roll here. Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure to have this guest back. He joined us recently for our wrap-up of the 2025 Margaret River Pro. That's Kennedy. Who have we got?
Mates, we've got a friend of mine that I bumped into. I first met him walking back from a certain point break that's got a car park in it that people like surfing. And it's a long walk out to the point, and one afternoon I was just waltzing back and I saw this huge broken plastic cray pot washed up on the beach, and I thought, man, that thing is going to turn into like 100 pieces of plastic. Microplastic, and mate, it was going to turn into 100 pieces of macroplastic. It was pretty big. And I started trying to lug it up the beach, and I'm like, oh, holy shit, I've committed to this thing, and it's a long way back. And then out of the sultry West Oz sunset came waltzing this handsome figure.
He's
with
a
a
handsome
board.
figure, isn't he?
He is, isn't he? And he's like, mate, do you want a hand with that? And I'm like, yes, I do. So he grabbed the other side, and we started walking back to the car park and started yarning. And ever since then, he's been a friendly face in the lineup. And yeah, we've shared many good sessions together, and we've talked about him coming on for a while. He's a journalist of note.
Cinematographer?
He has a fantastic vocabulary. I can't understand half the fucking words he reads.
Photographer?
Yeah, that's one of them. I don't know what that means. Mate, welcome to the podcast, Tom Desouza.
Cheers, boys.
Yeah,
Thanks
Tom.
for having me.
Yeah, sick.
Good to see you, mate. Thanks for joining us recently for that Margie's Pro wrap-up. May or may not have just recorded it then, but
That's all right. That's our roles.
giving away the secrets.
There'll be 6 months in between those two. I'm sure we'll be fine.
Maybe not that much, but yeah, good to have you in the Sheckwaters, mate. Like as he's been saying,
Been talking for a bit.
been talking about having you on for a bit. So yeah,
We had to bang him out on a Wednesday night, mate, because
it's a Wednesday.
It's a freaking Wednesday.
I'll tell you
School
what.
night.
He's broken his rule.
I've broken my rule.
Yeah,
I know,
there's a couple of
but-
beers being swilled down.
Exactly, a
Couple
couple
of
of
cheeky
cheeky
monkeys.
monkeys. But mate, he's heading back to Indo where he resides at the moment. So we thought we better grab him before he shoots off. Where are you living in Indo at the moment, Tommy?
Based over in Bali at the moment.
Yep.
I've been there sort of on and off the last couple of years.
Yeah, cool.
I mean, it's a good place, Bali. It's a pretty, I mean, there's a lot of good things. It's an easy life. I mean, when I first moved there, I thought it'd be a really international sort of cosmopolitan kind of place. And I guess it is in some ways because you've got people sort of coming in from all around the world. But it's also, I didn't realise how fucking small it was as well.
Oh, really?
It's just such a bubble, you know.
Is it?
Yeah, I know. I guess you get that with any transient place. I mean, I think people who live long term in any kind of transient place almost have to shrink their world a little bit just to protect themselves from all the people coming and going. And
Oh, yeah, I guess, yeah.
yeah,
Because there's just so many people coming and going at Bali. I guess
yeah.
if you move in that circuit all the time, it might be a
cooks
bit
you.
overwhelming. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And all right, mate. Well, whereabouts? You're a West Aussie, I think.
Just before, I'm just curious about the Bali scene. So obviously, I keep saying obviously. I've noticed that I was editing today, and it's obviously this, obviously that. Down by sort of Ulus Way, aren't you? So obviously gotten crazy sort of busy over the last, I guess, 10, 15 years. How do you find the crowds down there?
I mean, you can still surf on your own. I guess you just sig where the crowd zags, and there's still places that aren't so frequented where you can kind of get away, from the crowds if you're willing to surf lesser quality waves, and so you can. I mean, I guess I do surf a bit in Bali, but I don't froth on surfing. It's just kind of a daily activity to sort of keep the endorphins up and
Like an exercise almost.
yeah.
So what does an average day look like for you living in Bali?
I mean, I've worked for the past 10 years as a writer and journalist. Writing stories. The last couple of years I've been working on a doco. Usually sort of get up, go and work in one of the cafes. Sort of work till lunchtime, maybe go home, maybe do a bit more.
So you're a digital nomad.
I guess so.
You probably hate that term, but you are, right?
It's got a lot of connotations.
You wouldn't like the term, would you?
No,
Yeah.
I don't, for some reason I feel like it's
got negative
It's just got
connotations.
wanker written all over it.
It's got wanker written on
yeah.
it. But I mean, I think it's the only reason it's got wanker on it is because everyone else, like me, who's digging fucking trenches like I did all day today, is like, I wish I was a fucking digital nomad. I think that's where the negativity comes from. Probably jealousy, I'm assuming. That's my view anyway.
I keep saying this, mate. You're wasted in the trenches. You've got far too much talent in a media capacity to be doing that. But
That's
you
right.
know,
I
you
just feed it to the apprentice all day.
do a good job at it. Anyway, so that's Bali. I know that I interrupted you, Adsy. My apologies, mate. What were you saying?
No. Well, no, let's go down that path. So you're a digital nomad. Are you single?
At the moment, yeah.
So when you're talking to ladies in Bali, are you dropping, I'm a digital nomad?
No, one of my mates was staring me up. He reckons, you go into the cafes and there's 1 hour of work and 3 hours of talking to girls.
Yes, a digital nomad. I'm hating you more and more as I work out your day-to-day basis. Yeah, right. Mate, what doco are you working on?
I've been working on something for I guess the idea came from a couple of years ago. A lot of stuff had changed in my life. This was about 2022. 4 years before, I'd been working in Jakarta as a journalist with the BBC.
Oh, right.
And the editor, I was sort of mentioned to the editor about travelling around Indonesia, and sort of maybe I'd heard of these guys who'd ridden a motorbike from Aceh to Timor, and it was kind of a bit of a pipe dream. And I sort of mentioned something about it. She goes, "Oh, you should do that and film it. Indonesian people would love that. They'd love to see they'd love to see a Westerner exploring their country, and especially you sort of saying, when I was at the BBC, everything was in Indonesian, so I'd sort of picked up the language pretty quickly.
Yep.
Editorial meetings, interviews. I sort of had to learn that pretty quickly, and she said, Indonesian people love that. So I guess that planted a little bit of a seed.
Yep.
And it kind of got me thinking, and so I sort of thought, one day I'd love to do that,
Sick.
And yeah, 2020, I guess 2021, 2022, a lot of stuff had changed in my life. I just sort of got out of a long-term relationship, and I was kind of free. And I sort of went, well, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? And ended up in Indonesia, and just by chance met Jim Banks in the spa, and was sort of talking with Banksy and sort of talking about his explorations through the archipelago, and if there were still uncrowded waves out there. And he goes, yeah, there are. I guess Indonesia is a place where the waves are either really crowded or really fickle.
Yeah.
So if you want to get away from the crowds, you sort of got to put in the time and just chance it. And he goes, if I was to do it, I'd get a trail bike and just ride east.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, he gave me a bit of info, a bit of insight, and the next year that's what I did.
Awesome.
I started riding. Yeah, I sort of went to Bali, bought a trail bike, and started riding across Indo. I had the idea of kind of moving into film. I guess a lot of the work I've done in the past is journalism, is kind of written stories, and I think the way in which most information is consumed now is through video. I mean, you look at how people, consume information. It's all through Instagram Reels or TikTok, or people are watching stuff on their phones, So that's the way of the future. It's kind of something I wanted to learn, and I set out to do that, and I kind of had that intention. But I mean, that traveling like that was just kind of a full-time job in itself. It was really hard to film a lot of that stuff. So I ended up writing a 10-part series for Tracks.
Oh yeah.
Came back to WA for a bit, and then went back to Indonesia and teamed up with this guy Filippo, who's a cinematographer.
Oh yeah.
And we're sort of going back to a lot of these places and
Sick.
getting some high-quality cinematic stuff and putting it all together.
Is
How
the
long? Oh, sorry.
You go.
How long was the motorbike trip?
I spent 2.5 months in Bali, and then 3.5 months on the road.
That was just getting from Kuta to Uluwatu.
Peak hour traffic.
Yeah, right.
So 6 months or so.
Yeah, 6 months in Indonesia. Sort
Wow.
of 2.5 months just getting set up, finding a bike and doing a couple of trial runs, and getting everything organised, and then sort of rode straight to West Sumbawa, spent 5 weeks there, and then kept going to Sumba. And I think there's about 6 weeks there, and then maybe another 2-3 weeks sort of just cruising back to Bali.
Yeah, sick.
Is the name of the doco going to be 100 Women on 100 Different Islands? The life story of a digital nomad? Is that in the running?
Captain Cook again. I think it's stories from the Scenic Route, isn't it?
It's called the doco is going to be called The Long Road Home.
The Long Road Home.
Yeah.
Mate, it sounds fantastic. And to someone, I'm sure Namo feels the same way with, with a family and a pretty locked-in job and a mortgage. It just fucking makes you want to jump on a motorbike. And, mate, you just feel like it's something you can only do in your, mid-20s or something, which I'm assuming that's about where you are, isn't it? Mid to late 20s, something like
30,
that?
30.
30, there you go.
30. So as my old man used to tell me, he's referring to responsibility. He goes, once the toothpaste is out of the tube, it's not going back in. That's
I like that one.
Yeah,
That's a good one. Yeah.
Don't mind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty epic journey, man. I've definitely heard of you doing that and read some of your articles and stuff. So definitely look forward to checking that out. When's it going to be coming out? Any idea? Is it still in filming or is it in editing or is there more chapters to it?
We've we sort of started filming properly December, January. We did a trip to East Java. We just did a trip to Sumba. We're going to do another one to West Java in July, August.
Yep.
And then I think by then, I'd say at the moment we've probably shot 40-50% of what we need. So
Okay, cool.
I reckon, after West Java we'll probably have about 3/4, and then it'll just be about going in and filling some of the gaps, probably come back here and film some stuff, and then start putting it together.
What sort of bike have you got?
When I first started, I bought this kind of just Bitzer. It was like just customised in an Indonesian backyard garage, and it had like a Yamaha motor and a Suzuki key and a Hyosung frame, like a fuel cap that was. I took it to the mechanic one day that like the thread just started peeling off the cap, and I took it to the mechanic and said, have you got any other caps? And he's like, oh, nah, these are hard to find. We can just glue it back together. And he turns it over and starts looking at it. And someone's already had a go at it, and they've just packed out the outside with all these ciggy butts and just glued it together. Just,
no way. That's so in isn't it?
Yeah.
Gadang Garamba, surely. Because they're thicker and stronger than your average Sam Porner.
Yeah.
Just more standpointers, mate.
Yeah.
Get a cigarette for the more discerning smoke.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
during the trip, after the trip, how's your bush mechanic skills?
I mean, the thing of traveling over there is one thing that was really easy was, I mean, anywhere you go, there's a lot of people in Indonesia, you know, and there's always someone that was willing to help. I mean, once I sort of ran out of fuel, and I sort of pulled off on the side of the road, and someone pulled up behind me, and sort of, you know, I asked them, and they said, what happened? You know, I said, I've just run out of fuel, and they went, oh, wait here, I'll be back in a sec, and they rode off.
Glass bottle.
Yeah, I didn't even have time to finish a cigarette. They rode off and came back and had a bottle of fuel and tipped it in the bike, and I tried to give them some money and they wouldn't take anything. You know?
Wow.
They just said,
Really?
no,
That's
here
pretty
you go.
cool.
Yeah.
Sick.
So I mean, yeah, it's really quite different to a place like Australia where you got to be, you know, you got to be quite self-sufficient and you got to bring your own tools and you got to be prepared if something happens and you're out in the middle of nowhere, where you got to, you know, at least be able to have a crack at fixing it yourself. You know.
Yeah.
Whereas there it's different. You know. There's a
Every
lot of
third Losman's a motorbike mechanic.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
mate.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Mate, how do you go with directions over there? I've always found, I mean, it's obviously easy with GPS and that these days, but I always found in Indo, everyone was so helpful to give you directions, but they were always the shittest directions.
Yeah.
Did you come across that at all?
Yeah, there's a lot of that. I think, like, you know, I think there's Indonesian people, they kind of have this obligation where if someone asks them something, it's kind of almost rude to say no or to say that they don't know.
Yeah, right.
So people will kind of give you directions, and and they'll just kind of make it up as they go along. And one person will tell you, oh, you know, it's 100 meters up here. And the idea of distance is pretty warped over there.
Oh, yeah.
One guy goes, oh, it's 100 meters. Another guy goes, oh, no, it's pretty far. It's 10 kilometers. And
Yeah.
usually it ends up being somewhere in the middle, you know.
Shout out to Bob Monkman, who told us an epic story in an episode about trying to find Desert Point in the early 70s. And yeah, it was just every single person was like 1 kilometre. It's just 1 kilometre around the thing. And it went for like days and they never made it. So I think that's pretty much a testament to what you're saying there.
Yeah.
Mate, how'd you go for bike rack? Did you just have one board, where'd you get the rack from? Was it did you just use the standard clunky sort of ones that they got over there, or did you get something more robust and custom? Or
Yeah, so I bought the bike. I kind of set it up with like a luggage box on the back.
yeah,
And then got a guy to weld up a rack for the bike.
yeah. So you got a custom one.
Yeah, I got a custom one.
Yeah.
He welded it up. I had to get it fixed at one point, and the guy fixed it, just made it super strong,
Yeah, sick.
which was good.
Because some of the ones on the higher bikes you get over there, they're pretty
Yeah.
loosely hanging on there. you know, like-
So
And did you get a double or just the one board?
It was enough to fit two in.
Yeah.
I took two boards. As I was traveling with two boards, I kind of wish I just took one.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I guess with the two boards, you have to take the fins out. You have to have them in a double board bag, and there's kind of no just pulling up and going for a quick surf.
Yeah, gotcha.
You got to
Yeah.
sort of pull up, get set up somewhere, and then kind of go off and scout the waves
And
and
then-
set the boards up. And
Were you ever worried maybe in the more out of the way spots, not so much, but when you got that second board in Indo, you worried about someone pinching it as well when you go for a surf? Or
a little bit. I mean, I think if you're sensible over there, it's pretty good. I mean, I think any kind of theft over there is pretty opportunistic. You know,
Yeah.
it's just leaving shit lying around.
it's more like
And
cash and phones. Or
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
Maybe.
Someone sees it and they just go, yeah. I mean, and I guess that's the thing with the second board as well. It's like, I'd only ever really go surfing if I'd sort of was set up somewhere and take it out and set up the fins, because and traveling like that, it's hard enough as it is.
Yeah, cool.
So yeah.
So speaking of Banksy, about spots that are still out there on the road, did you have any like epic surfs just by yourself?
I set off and I was kind of imagining that. I kind of went, I'm sort of going into parts of Indonesia that not too many other people have been, and I sort of went, well, there's got to be heaps out here. You know, I kind of I thought I'd be surfing on my own all the time, and in I think 3.5 months, it maybe happened like those epic sessions that I probably only got 1 or 2 epic sessions.
Yeah, okay.
So I mean, you really
Epic
do.
empty sessions.
Yeah. I mean, you really do have to put in the work, and it's not an easy way to travel either. You know, you're sort of sleeping on the floor and eating rice, and sort of pretty alienated and out there. And there's not a lot of other Western people.
Yeah, well, that's it. We talk about loving to be able to do that with having mortgages and families and stuff, but I don't know if I could go past my, my queen size
Yeah.
slumber. What do you call them?
Slumber King
Slumber
Yeah.
King sort of.
with fucking knitted
Sup-
pure
sup-
merino socks on
I
and
know, I
fucking
know.
yeah, tough gig out there, isn't it?
I like my sleep, and I don't know if I could deal with it anymore. But yeah,
Yeah. No, it is hard. It is rough going, you know. And I guess that's. I mean, I guess a lot of things you see on the internet that whole idea of that trip, it is glamorized a bit. But I mean, traveling in that way, yeah, it's definitely hard going, and you have to really put in the work, and you have to really want it. And I think, going back now and filming this doco, I think that's one thing that's changed as well. I mean, I kind of did the hard yards before and put in a big 3-month stint. I've got a better idea of the places and where to go and when to go, and also we're able to be a bit more targeted as well and sort of go, well, we want to go back to this place at this time, and this is what we want to film, and sort of go there with a bit more intent. Whereas I guess before I was kind of meandering and just sort of looking around. And yeah, I mean, I guess the idea for the doco came out of that, which was good. But
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Mate, the roads are pretty deadly in Indo. Give us an insight to one of the gnarlier things that either happened to you or that you saw on the roads.
I think the most dangerous place to ride a bike's in Bali,
Yep.
for sure. But Bali's hectic. I mean, I think the Indonesians are really good because they understand the roads, and the roads are different there to how they are here. I mean, I think here the rules are kind of pretty clear cut, and it's like this is what you do. Whereas there, you just kind of have to look and sort of go with the flow. And yeah, I mean, there's no real. I mean, I guess the most basic rules are just to kind of fit in and follow what everyone else is doing, you know?
Yeah.
You got a fucking massive bull ant in your beard there, Adsy.
I felt something crawling around there.
you got a bullet in your
He's
beard.
been in there all week.
You got a bullet in your beard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
20
so,
runs out
I mean,
of
yeah, it sort of, one of the worst things I saw was, Sumba's also pretty bad as well because,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the roads there are pretty rough. And it's pretty out there. It's pretty remote, and the people are pretty wild. A lot of guys just ride around with no, guys have got no lights.
No clothes on.
Yeah.
Or was that you?
I mean, yeah, a lot of guys are just they don't even have lights on their bike. They're just riding around in the dark with no lights. And
Really?
one of them's got a head torch on, or there might be one holding a torch.
Yeah, holding a goodie out front.
yeah.
Lighting away.
Three of them on the bike, yeah.
Lights? What for?
Yeah, so yeah, one guy was he's drunk and riding without lights and hit a hole, and he was there on the side of the road, just blood coming out of his nose and out of his ears, and sort of 60
hectic.
people around him. But
Yep.
yeah, I mean, you see, yeah, it's kind of a rare thing to see in Sumba. That was kind of one of the only things I saw. Yeah, you see it a lot more frequently in Bali, and kind of a lot worse as well.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, one of my mates who sort of did what you did a bit, to be honest, Big Fruity. He was a journalist. He's a doctor now, but he's an Indo specialist. And he always told me that the 2 rules that he went by is that you got to give way to the front. He reckons that was a big rule, which sort of is like what you're saying, go with the flow. It's like, where we, over here, it's like give way to the right. And it's like, no, man, give way to the front. So if someone pulls out on you, you don't get angry. That's just how it is. Like, you give way to them. And then he said you also, I don't know about this theory of his. This was more of his theory. He was like, you've got to pretend you're a truck, no matter what vehicle you're on, which adheres to that give way to the front thing. So he's like, you just pull out because you're a truck. And I'm like, I don't know about that.
No, you do. You definitely do. I feel it's actually a little bit safer there to ride it a little bit harder than a little bit softer,
Yeah.
I think if you
I
kind of
think driving in general is like that. to be
Yeah, I
honest.
think if you sort of impose yourself a little bit, I mean, people generally tend to give room, and you obviously also you give room as well, and kind of hold back a little bit. But I mean, I think it's definitely a lot more dangerous to drive slower and kind of be a bit more scared and a bit more cautious. And
For
kinda-
sure. Yeah.
because other people are sort of driving a little bit harder and pushing and sort of seeing what they can get away with. And
If you're tentative, you're not with the flow, are you?
yeah,
Because the flow is going a bit harder. Yeah, sick.
yeah. So yeah, it's just a different road sense.
And mate, everyone loves to hear about you just being doubled over in pain and squirting out both ends in the middle of a malaria-ridden, poor excuse for a Losman. How's your sicknesses on those?
Oh, it was pretty
early-
good.
yeah,
Yeah,
pretty good.
It was pretty good. I mean, I guess that time in Bali sort of helped me acclimatise, and I mean, I think the only thing I really felt was, I mean, the more remote you go in Indo, people don't have the healthiest lifestyle. There's not a lot of vegetables, and sort of people are just eating rice and a few vegetables and a little bit of meat. And
Yep.
you know, just chain smoking and yeah. So I mean, that was
Can't get veggies.
yeah,
Plenty of ciggies.
yeah.
Tobacco is a plant.
Is I was gonna say, they're getting their leafy greens, aren't they?
yeah.
Browns.
Yeah. So yeah. There's a bit of that. You just sort of, you know, don't feel real healthy over there. But I think there was this one trip where we were sort of way out there in Sumba, and there was this island sort of 40 k's offshore where we'd heard there was a wave, and we rode out to this village. There's kind of, once you get into the more remote parts of Sumba, there's nowhere even to there's nowhere really to stay. There's nowhere even to eat. There's no restaurants or even warongs or anything. There's just little kiosks that sell like chips and cigarettes and water and shit.
Yep.
So if you want to eat or you want somewhere to stay, you've got to go into someone's house. Just knock on the door of someone's house and just go and ask and say, "Look, I'm traveling. I'm hungry. Can you cook some food for me? Do you have a place I can stay?" And so we pulled into this one village where we'd heard, you know, there was a wave offshore. We asked the kind of village chief if we could stay there, and he put us up and fed us. And the next morning we managed to find a boat out to this island. There were 2 islands. One of them was inhabited. There were sort of 800 people living there. Most of them were squid fishermen from Lombok. Oh, yeah. And so we stayed there one night until they could take us out to this other island the next night. Yeah. And the guy was sort of showing me. He goes, "Oh, look, these are our vegetables." And he just takes me out the front and just shows me all these squid just drying on the ground.
Vegetables.
Yeah.
And he was just having a laugh.
Obviously. Yeah. Oh no, he was kind of serious.
Oh really?
Okay. Because they can get vegetables back on the mainland, but it's pretty arid out there. Yeah. So they go back to the mainland once a week.
Pretty arid, is it?
Yeah. So they can't really grow anything out there. So they go back to the mainland once a week and stock up on vegetables and bring everything back out there. And once that's gone, it's gone. You know.
Yeah. Right.
So they loaded us up with a heap of food to go and camp on this other island. And all we had was this big bucket of rice and
some squid.
Yeah. I never knew how many different ways there were to eat squid. We had dried squid and curried squid, grilled squid, and breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You know? Yeah. So he dropped us on this island, and we'd surf this fun little left out the front. There was kind of this abandoned resort there, but it was pretty eerie. It was pretty eerie actually, because this island must have been like a turtle nesting ground.
Oh yeah.
And like turtle meat's illegal in Indonesia, but because it's illegal, the meat's also really expensive. Oh, yeah. So apparently these guys came there in the middle of the night and massacred all these turtles, and
just recently.
Yeah, just before we got there, like a couple of weeks before we got there, right. and to kind of dispose of all the evidence, they just lit the whole island up.
Yeah,
so the whole island had just been scorched, and there were like
the whole island.
Yeah, and there were hundreds and hundreds of turtle carcasses just everywhere.
Wow.
Burnt skulls and shells, and it was fucking eerie.
That is pretty eerie.
Yeah. And there's this big abandoned resort, all these villas with the fucking roofs that had fallen off, and this huge concrete tower with some
abandoned resorts are always creepy, eh?
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And what was the wave like?
It was fun. It was kind of like a bit of a Nusa Dua sort of style setup. Where it's these split up sort of. Yeah, like
Shifty
a long
piece.
Yeah. I mean, I think if it was big, if it got really big, it could be really good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
Like Nusa Dua.
Yeah.
Because the bigger that gets, the better it gets, yeah.
Yeah, similar to that, just kind of a reverse. And it was offshore in the trades, which is rare over there.
Oh yeah.
I've told you about my Nusa Dua manta ray story, haven't I?
Maybe. But
this one set comes. It was not a huge day, probably 6 to 8 at Nusa Dua, and sort of getting bigger. And the 2 guys I was with, because there's sort of us and maybe 2 other packs a bit further down the point, and the other 2 guys sort of got washed in, and I was out the back. Big set comes through, the biggest of the day, and I was going, oh shit, this is going to land on my head. And I just managed to duck dive it, but as I duck dive it, the biggest fucking manta ray I've ever seen in my life just goes over the lip. It's like 12 foot across this thing.
Oh.
Goes over the lip and gets absolutely fucking smashed by this wave.
No way.
And I duck dive underneath it, just watching it like that. Holy shit, what the fuck?
That's pretty hectic.
Yeah, so I got the next wave in, obviously, and
that freaked you the fuck out, did it?
Yeah, it's huge. It's like the biggest sea animal I've ever seen. Yeah. It was massive. But yeah, that's my Nusa Dua story.
That's pretty cool.
There you go.
Very good.
So,
yeah, where do we go from here?
I don't know. I just interrupted with my Nusa Dua story. My
right.
manta ray
story. I liked it. Okay.
Let's wind it back.
Yeah, let's wind it back. I think that's probably where we're at. Yeah, I think that's where we're at. Where'd you grow up, Tommy?
I was born in the UK.
Oh, were you?
8 years in
Pommy.
London. Yeah, so My mum was born in Broome. She grew
Oh,
up
yeah.
in Derby. Dad was born in Perth. And then, yeah, they sort of met in their mid-20s in Sydney. They kind of planned on travelling and living in different places and
Yep.
went to London. Me and all my brothers and sisters were born there. And then, yeah, folks sort of, when I was almost 8, I think around that time, Dad lost his job and kind of decided that'd be a good time as any to come home. And so I moved back to Perth.
Oh, cool.
What was your dad doing over there work-wise?
He's working in finance. He's like a foreign
Right.
currency trader. So we had,
There you
we had a pretty good life over there.
Yeah.
Private schools and fucking tennis lessons and swimming lessons. And
Strawberries and cream at Wimbledon.
yeah, it was a bit of that. Yeah,
Sick.
yeah, for sure.
And then you moved to back to Perth. Well, not back to Perth, but to Perth for you. And how long after that was it that you found the ocean? Or did you find it in England?
No, I always wanted to surf. I don't know why or where it came
Even when
from.
you're in England?
When I
Is
was
it-
in England, yeah.
How did you even know about it?
I remember going to, I mean, we used to come to Australia every year on holidays.
Oh, okay.
And I guess, I don't know. I think, I don't know where it came from or sort of where the idea sprouted, but it was something I always wanted to do. I always wanted to surf. And then I think when we moved to Australia, I struggled a bit with, I mean, when we'd come out to Australia from England on holidays, and obviously I'd grown up in England, I'd spent all of my life there, but I didn't really consider myself English. Both my parents were Australian, and they barracked for Australian sports teams.
Oh, yeah.
But then we'd come out here, and my family would all give me shit and go, "Oh no, you're a fucking pom,"
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, I remember. Yeah. I remember my uncle talking about the footy, and he was talking about Collingwood, and I asked who Collingwood was, and he went, "Oh, you don't even know who Collingwood are you? You're
Yeah.
fucking not Australian, mate."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, fuck Collingwood. I mean,
yeah.
Collingwood supporters are the worst, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
just like half our listeners, but anyway.
that's right. Fuck you, Collingwood. I don't care. I'd support the Wooden Spooners this year and next year, West Coast. Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, cool. And
So
then,
where did you move to when you came to Perth?
We're in Fremantle.
Yep.
Yeah. So went to school there. I kind of struggled at school straight away. I'd gone from this. I think I was a pretty demanding kid. I kind of needed constant input and stimulation, and I think Mum and Dad just thought, "Oh, he'll just slot straight into the local primary school." And I struggled. I mean, it was a bit of a cultural shock. And I'd gone from fucking like learning Latin and having fencing lessons and fucking to just sort of playing with water and sand. It's
Yeah.
having itchy bong walls at recess and yeah.
Mate, handball's as good as it's going to get here.
Yeah.
No fencing.
no.
Yeah, so I struggled. I just didn't want to go to school, I just kind of stopped going. I went, well, fuck this. I'm just going to stay home.
Yeah.
right.
So you just, so 8 years old, so primary school when you got there.
Yeah, I'd started school a year earlier in London. We started there when we were 4, and then kids had started here a year later, so when they were 5. So I was moved up here, so I was a year above my age group. And I struggled at school. I just kind of wasn't getting the input I needed, and then Mum, I stopped going to school. Mum and Dad went and talked to the school, and the only solution that they could offer was to move me up a year. So then I would have been with kids 2 years older than me.
Yeah,
So
right.
8 years old with kids who are like 10. It's fucking pretty big difference at that age.
Yeah.
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 I did a similar thing. I did 2 years in one at primary school, and the rest of my school, I was a year younger than everyone else. It was kind of challenging, It can be a long time in 1 year between.
Oh,
It is, yeah.
Huge
Group.
time. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
when
2
you-
years even worse.
It's
When
like
you're a
10%
kid-
of your life.
Yeah, I remember sort of when I was a kid, a week was a long time. I was
Yeah,
thinking,
yeah.
oh, a week, that feels like an eternity, Yeah.
I've got 5 days before the weekend.
Yeah.
5 whole days.
Yeah.
That's what my young bloke says to me all the time. I can't believe it's weekend's finished. I've got 5 whole days of school. So school a challenge, and where from there?
Mum and Dad got me into this private school. I was happy there. I was sort of, I'd
Back
kind
to
of,
fencing.
Yeah. Well, I'd started to connect with surfing because, I think surfing was one thing that really helped me to bridge that gap between not feeling Australian and not feeling English, a bit of a cultural bridge, I guess.
Yep.
I made mates at school, and we were surfing after school, and I was happy there. I had a good time.
Where were you surfing? Around the Freo area, or?
No, I'm mostly up at Trig Point.
Oh, you were making
Yeah.
your way up there?
Yeah. I mean, even through at school, we kind of had every Friday afternoon we had 2 periods of sport, and you could pick your winter sport and your summer sport, and I think one of the summer sports was surfing. So they used to load us in the bus and take us down.
Oh,
to
that's
Trig
pretty
Point.
cool.
Yeah,
Sick.
yeah.
Yeah, sweet.
Shout out to the Trig Point board riders.
Yeah.
I don't know if John O'Cully's still the president, but yeah. G'day,
John
Jono.
O'Cully, president of
I think he was at some point, yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Good on you, Cully.
He's
He was the president of Yale's board riders in the early 2000s.
yeah, well, he's certainly involved with
It's
it.
presidential material, obviously.
Let's get him. Let's John O'Cully for Prime Minister.
Yeah, exactly. I'd vote for
Albo's
him.
gone next term, surely. So get him on.
Shout out to, what's his surf shop? Oh, shit. Sorry, Jono.
Sorry, Jono.
Yep. It's at Hillary's and it's also in North Beach.
yeah.
Yep.
Hollow
Surf Shop. Yeah.
Sorry, Jono. Fucking
Yeah,
hell.
that was a bit
jeez.
rough. Yeah, get into Hollow Surf Shop. See John
Yeah.
O'Cully, he's a bloody legend. Charges too.
Hopefully he's got Shark Eyes wetsuits in stock there.
Yeah, I know he loves Cheeky Monkey beer, so you could maybe get a few empty tins off him.
Indeed. Just got off track there. So Trig Point,
Yes.
anywhere else?
Oh, we used to come down here a bit.
Yep.
Auntie's got a place down here, so yeah, most holidays we'd sort of come down here, and I guess I kind of sort of started developing a bit of an affinity with the place. I mean, the waves are good. They're a completely different class to what they are in Perth.
Yeah.
And mostly around there.
Yeah, I still reckon that Perth is probably not a bad place to learn,
Yeah,
because you've got just beach breaks and, a couple of little reef setups, which we won't mention, around the Waterman's area maybe. A little gravis. What are you talking about there?
That was
now?
my first reef break.
Yeah.
And then, mates, you've been pretty open in your past and done previous podcasts and that. You went through a bit of a rough patch there.
yeah.
Was that after you'd already found surfing? You sort of started mixing with the wrong crowd and got into drugs and alcohol and stuff, a bit like that. Is that right?
Yeah, it was. It was after I got into surfing.
And you don't mind talking about it, I'm assuming.
Nah.
You've done full podcasts
Yeah,
and stuff like
yeah.
that before, so
No, not at all.
it's part of your journey.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm open about it. If I I guess if there's anything that can come out of this, if I can use this experience to help other people, then that's a good thing.
Yep.
So I mean, I guess I think I was at that private school. It was obviously really expensive, and my dad, he couldn't find the same kind of work in London that he was doing in London. He couldn't find that same sort of work in Perth.
Yep.
So he didn't work for 3 years. Mum was working, and sort of the savings were running down, and they were trying to figure out what they were going to do. Dad moved to Hong Kong for a year, and that was sort of where it all fell apart. The old man used to pick me up from school every afternoon, and we'd go surfing together, and he was a pretty strong presence in my life.
Yep.
And then he
Then he had to go to work.
he disappeared, and I really felt his absence, and I guess I also, when he came back, he was a different person. I think he maybe he'd felt he'd let his family down or failed as a father, and
Yeah, right.
so
That'd weigh on you, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
You
for
like
sure.
use your job in England, then you move to the other side of the world, and then you got to can't work for a bit, and then take off to another part of the world to try to get it back on track. It's
and I think
be pretty stressful, mentally challenging for a family man.
I think as a man, like whatever kind of work that you do becomes a big part of your identity.
Yeah.
And I feel for him as well, because he was obviously in his mid-40s. He's sort of worked his way up to this point in his career where he's good at what he does.
Yep.
And he obviously wanted to keep doing the same thing and keep progressing, and there's just came to a place where there's just kind of nothing.
Yeah. Yep.
So he struggled with that, and Mum was working, and then they came back to Perth. They weren't sure what they were going to do next, and their relationship sort of started falling apart. We weren't sure where we were going to go, what we were going to do, whether we were going to stay in Perth or move to Hong Kong or go to Sydney or Melbourne. And I was happy at this school. The only way for me to be able to stay at this school was if I could win some kind of academic scholarship, so that they didn't have to pay all the school fees.
Oh yeah.
So I sat a scholarship for there and another school. I got them both.
Yep.
But Mum and Dad went for the scholarship at the other school because it was 100% of the school fees for 5 years, whereas the other
Oh, that's pretty solid. Yeah.
50% for 3.
Yeah.
So, and then I moved to this school, and it was the
Fuck, you
fucking-
must have smashed the test.
Yeah.
That's
But
where
it
all
was-
those fancy words in the bloody
Yeah.
journalism come from. He's a
Well,
smart
they
cookie.
had a fencing test in it, so they
Yeah, but it was the worst school I ever went to. I went
Was
to
it?
9 different schools. It was yeah.
Which one was that?
Well, I won't name the
Okay.
name, but it was an elite private school in Perth, and they fucking, it was a real culture of like conformity and elitism, and if fucking mum and dad didn't live in the western suburbs and have
Oh,
a
yeah.
Mercedes, or
Was it
Yeah,
one of the
yeah.
big dogs?
it was one of the big
Yeah,
dogs,
yeah.
yeah.
I think I probably know which one.
Yeah, and if you weren't sort of in that, you kind of weren't good enough, I
Yeah.
fucking hated it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So that obviously probably led you to rebelling a bit and
Yeah.
mixing in the wrong crowds, and that when you, I mean, you can hear it and read about it in other places, the full depths of what you got into there. Did you lose surfing in that period where you were sort of into drugs and stuff like that?
Yeah, I did.
And I mean, look, as most of our listeners would attest, me and Nama were in our 40s and approaching 50s, and we've surfed, and it's not like we're clean skins, and we may or may not have recreationally used bits and pieces over the years, as a lot of people in the surfing lifestyle have.
I think it's pretty well documented that I had a couple of years of pretty heavy use, and
Yeah,
sort of came out of it as well.
yeah. So I mean, we've all done it, but it sounds like at that sort of pretty critical time in your life, you really sunk your teeth into it, way more than you should have, especially at a crucial time in your life where you're growing as a person. Did you lose surfing at that point?
Yeah.
Yeah, you weren't
for
surfing
sure.
at all in those couple
No,
of years?
I mean, I was a bit, sort of up until I was about 14. And I sort of started running amok and sort of kind of, smoking a bit of pot, and then that escalated pretty quickly, and then using ice. And
Yeah.
once I started using ice, I wasn't surfing at all. I just completely lost touch with it.
Yeah, because I couldn't imagine how two would mix at that point in your
No.
life, and
Yeah. So and I guess surfing was one of the things that really helped me move out of that. I mean, it's a fucking healthy thing, surfing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's kind of that subculture that surrounds it, where I mean, all of us surfers, there's a bit of larrikin in all of us. We
Yeah,
sort of
for
love
sure.
mucking about and having a good time, and but I mean, I think the act of surfing itself, it's a beautiful thing. It's
I
really
think a lot of
positive and
that.
healthy.
Oh, for sure it is, man. I think a lot of that stigma of surfing being, associated with drug culture comes back from the 60s and 70s, where they were looking at them going, man, those guys are deadbeats because they smoked a bit of like D quality leaf, because that's all that was kicking around back then, and they grew their hair long and didn't want to, work all the time. They just wanted to surf a bit, and it's like when you look back at that now, you go, dude, there's nothing wrong with that.
It's 40 years ago too.
Yeah, it was a long time ago, and it's not like they were fucking raging coke addicts.
Well,
I mean, there's been a few of those as well. But
Smuggling heroin
generally
into Australia and stuff as well.
yeah, I mean, there's definitely bouts of that, but I think as a
Supposedly.
whole, I think that stigma has probably stayed with surfing maybe longer than it should have, because as you say, for the majority of it, man, it's fucking healthy. It's good for you.
Yeah.
You're up early. You're out fucking in the natural environment. You're doing exercise. It's you're socialising out there. Yelling at someone, get the fuck off me wave. That's socialising, isn't it?
But then I guess the other side of that is also some of the things that surfers have resorted to in the past in order to be able to sustain the surfing
Maintain the lifestyle, exactly.
Fucking smuggling drugs around the world and just kind of doing whatever they can to make a quick buck so they can go surfing.
Yeah, so they can work less and surf more. Yeah, it's 50-50.
Yeah.
We're not that clean cut, are we? Let's be honest.
Well, you can't smuggle as easily as you could in the 70s, so
Not anymore.
that's changed these
Mate,
days.
see that light blue railed single fin behind you? I'm convinced that's got something.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one I was talking to with Billy Gibson.
You got to
And
cut
it-
into it.
Mate,
it
because I got it and it didn't have a ding in it. Like, it was mint condition. Bought it in a garage sale, and I'm like, this thing is that mint. And every time you turn it from one end to the other, you could hear liquid moving around in there. And I'm just like, mate, what is in the middle of this board? I don't know. And it's from Custom Shape singly in Geraldton back in the day. It's like, mate, come on, Gero boys.
Sounds dodgy, doesn't
Oh,
it?
it's so dodgy. Yeah. But it's too good a board. I can't go cutting it open. So, yeah.
So
But anyway, where were we? So then, mate, you went through that period. You busted it out the other side, and then I'm assuming once you got out of that side, you probably stuck your head into surfing pretty full on, I would imagine.
Yeah, I did. I think surfing was one thing that really helped me come through that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess the hardest part about giving up drugs is not so much just stopping. It's more the fact that like I had to kind of rebuild my life from zero, from kind of nothing all over. Like get rid of all the friends that I had and
Yep.
all the places that I used to go to and the things that I used to do. It's like you got to wipe the whole slate clean and start again. And
Yeah.
so
I mean, you were pretty young still when you were
I was.
when you were wiping the slate clean.
Yeah.
What are you talking, like 18 or something?
yeah, around 18, 19.
So I mean, that's surely it probably seemed like a big thing at the time, but when you can, it's not like they've been mates for 20 years or anything like that. So
yeah.
it's probably obviously it was a good thing you got out
But
early.
if,
and then
that's what you know and that's what you're comfortable with, it's going to be a challenge, isn't it?
it's
to
still a challenge.
adapt,
Yeah.
to adapt to a different sort of lifestyle and different.
Yeah,
group.
so I guess I think like a big changing point was for me was starting to travel, and just going out there and seeing how other people live and seeing what other things are out there and seeing that there are actually other ways to find joy and pleasure in the simple things, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I guess after going overseas and doing that, I came back and decided to study. I sort of decided to study journalism. I think writing and photography was something I found while I was traveling and went, fuck, I really enjoy this. I like it. This is what I want to do.
Yep.
And then came back and sort of went, well, all these things that I'd love and I've discovered, how can I fucking keep doing these things while still being in a place, I need to be in Perth while I'm here studying, doing this degree. How can I maintain those things and still be here doing that?
Shaping in Geraldton.
Yeah.
It's got a port. Sorry, mate.
Yeah. So I with a mate, I just kind of set up. I had this little Kia Sportage kind of part-time four-wheel drive thing, and set the back of that up and just kind of started traveling up and down the coast, just looking for waves and going to different places, and just spending a lot of time alone and just exploring, really. I guess just exploring myself, exploring the country, exploring surfing, and having a look around.
What were some of the first articles you started writing there? Once
It's pretty funny actually. The very first article I got published, I'd been in Indonesia, and I'd gone and spent some time on the Gili Islands, Gili Trawangan, and it's got a pretty interesting history there. It was at first it was a prison island, sort of similar to Rottnest, where people got sent there.
Yeah.
And then it became a coconut plantation. A lot of the prisoners stayed there and sort of worked the coconut plantation. And then they realised the potential for tourism, and kind of a few homestays sort of started to pop up, and some of those guys stayed and worked there. And then now to this day, there's no police on the island,
Right.
and there's a lot of drugs.
I was going to say, I don't know, I haven't been there, but every time someone says Gili, I associate it with partying because
It's a huge party island.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the guys who work there are guys who have got a drug problem or have had a drug problem on the mainland, and they can kind of be exported to this place where they're sort of out of sight, out of mind, and there's no police. They're not going to get into trouble. And
Indos or expats?
Indo guys, yeah.
Okay.
And they can sell drugs and not get hassled by the police, or
Interesting.
there's obviously some sort of behind the scenes arrangement that enables them to do that.
I'm keen.
Yeah. But a lot of, almost all of these guys were using ice, and I sort of had.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I kind of.
I'm not keen for that.
Yeah. But I kind of, I sort of had a little bit. I ended up staying with a few of these guys and had a bit of a look behind the scenes, and sort of saw how it all worked, and then went back to Perth and was at uni and had this uni assignment. I ended up writing this story for this uni assignment. And my granddad was renting a house to this guy who had a radio show, and he'd written all these books on the underbelly and criminal gangs and that sort of thing. And
Adam Shan?
Yeah. He's like, you got to go and meet Adam.
Yeah.
And I sort of went and met with him, and he read the story and he helped me get it published, and got me to come on his radio show and talk about it. And after I came on the show, it was funny. I went on in the morning. And later that afternoon, I get a phone call from him. He goes, "Oh, mate, I've got a bloody top secret question for you, but you don't know where I'd be able to get any pot around Fremantle." So we used to hang out and scoop up every sort of once a week, and he had a big influence on sort of my development.
Yeah, because he's still a super successsul journalist, and mate, he got into podcasting early days, man. That was one of the first ones I listened to.
Yeah.
Was and you had an episode with him there, and
So What was the name?
Adam Shand. Yeah,
Adam
he's
Shand.
a big
I know
crime
the
journalist.
name,
Yeah.
He had, as you say, he had a lot to do with all that underbelly stuff.
Yeah,
didn't he?
yeah. I think he wrote the books that Underbelly was based on, the TV series, and then
Yeah.
he did a bit of stuff with Chopper Reed and different bits and pieces as well.
Yep.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. No,
He's
he's a
got
really
some
good journo.
stories. Yeah.
I bet he does.
Yeah.
Fuck, hanging out with those boys.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And did you get waves in the Gili Islands that time you went there?
No, there are waves there. But I think maybe I surfed once or something, but I was only there for 3 or 4 days and was just kind of partying. You know?
Yeah, sick.
I think that was, I guess that was kind of one of the first trips where I really sort of fell in love with Indonesia and really sort of started to connect with it. I was maybe 20 and just kind of travelled alone there for 2 months and sort of started to pick up some of the language and explore it a bit more and went, this is pretty cool, you know,
Yeah, sweet.
And I think Indonesia is one of those places where you go and spend a bit of time there over the years and it's kind of got a way of getting under your skin, you know. There's something that really hooks people in and always brings them back. I mean, it's a really warm and friendly and welcoming place. And
Yeah, 100% agree with that.
yeah.
So, might be jumping ahead a little bit, but how did the opportunity arise to work for BBC in Jakarta?
So I came back, I studied, I finished my studies and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I was sort of thinking about, maybe I should go and work. You know, I guess the kind of done thing was to go and get an office job. And I sort of thought, well, what do I want to do, you know? And I travelled a little bit in that year after, and there was this course I'd kind of had my eye on over there. It was, it was basically you go and do this course. It's like a week of intensive language and culture, or I think a month of intensive language and culture, and then they hook you up with an internship for 3 months.
Yeah, okay.
So,
over there?
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
applied for that. I sort of thought, that's something I want to go and do. So I applied for that, and that was the internship they gave me. So they set me
Awesome.
up at BBC, and
Yeah.
yeah.
So, where did you actually study journalism?
I was at Notre Dame in Fremantle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, good place to go through it?
It was
Yeah.
it was a really good uni. It was small. I mean, it's beautiful as well. It's right down the west end of Fremantle, all the old heritage buildings and.
It's a beautiful spot.
Yeah. It's like, you know, you go into a uni, you like going to uni wasn't even really like going to uni, you know. Yeah. You sort of just wander around Fremantle, dip into this old heritage building, go and have a coffee here, and
Yeah. Idyllic student lifestyle.
yeah.
Mate, do you need a break at all? Well,
No, I'm good. Yeah,
All right,
I'm good to keep
We'll
going.
keep on going.
Yeah, cheers, Adsy.
If you listen to the podcast, you know I got a pee bladder, so I'll go out for my 15th piss of the evening shortly. Hello, Freckle.
Yeah, sick. Mates, one like I met you and we surfed together for a few years, and then I saw, followed you on bloody social somewhere, and I seen you do this this hell trip through the south coast of WA, and I think we can probably name the spots because fucking there's no one out there.
Yeah.
I'm sure he would have been stoked if you found a surfer out there.
Yeah.
Was it like starting out in Esperance or something and heading? Is it called the Telegraph Track or something?
Yeah.
Or what is it?
I did this. Yeah, sort of. I mean,
All
I
the
guess
way out to the bloody South Oz border.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I left to travel Oz, and I guess I kind of left with the intention of trying to, spend as little time on the bitumen as possible. Just go right out there and go to the most remote places that Australia has to offer, and sort of really discover what it's all about. You know?
And that's got to be one of the most remote coastal areas, doesn't it? Isn't
for
it?
Sure.
Isn't it like hundreds of kilometres of four-wheel drive track with literally nothing?
I think you can drive all the way. I think you can drive all the way from Esperance pretty much to like, to the border. I guess.
Yeah, Eucla.
Yeah.
And so you didn't get all the way to the border?
Nah. So we sort of
Because you get to that one spot, which is the start of Cape Arid.
yeah.
And I've been out there, and mate, there was a sign that I've never seen before, and it said "Warning, end of roads." And I was like, "What the fuck?" It's just like, and it was like, make sure you have, extra this, extra that, water, petrol, and it's like, mate, you end of roads. It's like, okay, you head out here, and it's like, mate,
Just
no one's
dropping off the face of the earth.
it's like no one's helping you, and
Yeah.
and I know that you went way out past Arid and out towards Israelite Bay and stuff like that, and I just found that fascinating because I like the romance of that specific trip, and I know it must be a little bit scary, even if you do have a sick phobia. And I'm sure there's heaps of waves out there if you got the balls to go out and surf them by yourself. Tell us a bit about that trip.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it is pretty far out there. And I guess the feeling I got from there, I guess the feeling I was really chasing was just that feeling of being completely insignificant. You know, like there's a feeling out there. It's just fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It's like you're just surrounded by just like so much natural energy. You know, you're kind of in the middle of fucking call it nothing or everything. You know.
Yeah, it's nothing and everything.
Yeah.
I like the loneliness of that you get out there. Not so much the personal loneliness, but you just feel like, you know, Australia's this old, withered, weathered continent, and it's just been out there with like no one looking at it for years at a time, and you're just out in this random spot, and it's got this weird feel about it. Is that something you feel
I
about?
mean, I guess, you know, places like Europe, they got all their cathedrals and churches, and there's all the fucking history in that. But I guess Australia, it's kind of like a church of the open sky, you know? It's just, nature's a fucking this kind of divine force out here.
Sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Travelled sort of, just drove along the coast as far as we could. There's a lot of, like, you'd think there's a lot of waves out there. There's not that much.
Yeah.
You know, there's little clusters where there's a couple of waves here and a couple of waves there.
Yeah.
But yeah, pulled up at this one point break. We had to sort of drive 20 Ks along this beach. It was the fucking scariest beach I've ever driven.
Really?
It was so soft.
Yeah.
And the beach was just at a 45-degree angle.
Oh, hectic.
There was only
you
one.
had a like legit Land Cruiser troopy, didn't you?
Yeah, there was. I mean, we were following this one set of wheel tracks, and about halfway up the beach, you could kind of see where they'd lost their nerve and fucking pulled up into the dunes and turned back and gone,
right.
fuck this.
Oh, fuck.
So we're just pushing through virgin sand. And
Oh man.
you could see where the tide lines come right up past the dunes. And so you can only get up the beach at low tide.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was a fucking pretty white knuckle drive up there.
I bet.
And then we
Probably
got up.
like one person every 2 weeks coming down.
Yeah.
If you're lucky, right?
Yeah. And so we got up there. We got up to the end, and there's kind of pulled up at this headland, and there's sort of this left-hand point break just reeling off. It was sort of 8 to 10 foot.
Ooh.
And they're fucking dolphins and seals and like a huge school of salmon out behind the break. And yeah. I was just sitting there on the sat there and had some breakfast and sat there in the deck chair just praying for somebody else to drive up the beach.
Good luck.
Please, somebody come. And I was sitting there for about 3 hours and no one came. And
Whoa.
then the tide had come up enough to the point where we were locked in for 24 hours. So
Okay.
I was going, well, fuck. I can't just sit here and stare at these waves for the next 24 hours. I'm going to hate myself. You know? I've at least got to paddle out and try and get one or two.
Yeah. 3 waves as a surf and those rules.
Yeah.
3 and fucking get back in.
Yeah. So I was trying to figure out where to paddle out, and the only real way to paddle out was to kind of go out the back of the point break and sort of jump off, and then it was a strange setup where it was like a deep water bomby style reef off the takeoff, and then it kind of broke into this little cove, into this little point.
Oh, yeah.
And so you sort of had to paddle out from behind the back of the point and come right around the back of this reef to sort of get to the takeoff spot. So,
Yeah, right.
yeah. I mean, I was lucky that there are a lot of waves coming through.
Yeah.
So, I paddled out and sort of tried to cut the corner in a fucking big 10-foot section.
Yeah, of
No,
course.
fuck that.
Yeah, the funny thing is when you do that, you're like, oh, if I just cut this corner a little bit, there's less chance of getting nailed by a shark. And it's like, man, it's 10 metres. It's not going to make any difference. All it does is get you caught inside. You might as well just go that extra 20 metres. It's not going to make any difference. But it does mentally make a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, fully.
I've done that so many times.
So I paddled out and got 3 waves and just kind of sat there on the beach I was happy with that. I
that'll do.
didn't feel great about surfing out there on my own.
No, I bet.
And it's it's not so much the sharks. It's as much as anything. It's just the isolation. It's like if anything happens here, we're
You're done.
fucked.
Yeah.
We can't even drive back up the beach, and it's a 20K drive before there's even a chance of finding someone.
Yeah. And even if it's not a fatal shark then, and it's just a heavy bleed or a fin slice that's a heavy bleed, I mean, it's risky stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Injuries, for sure.
Yeah. So
So that was a bit of a highlight, was it?
that was good. Yeah, I guess it'd sort of been on the road a month before that, and a lot of places, there were waves, and I was a bit too scared to surf on my own. I was kind of not really comfortable with it, and then I think after that I kind of came to terms with it. I was like, well, yeah, you know, if you want to surf on that coast, you got to get used to surfing alone.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty hectic,
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
it?
Yeah, otherwise
it's
you just don't surf, you know.
No, and mate, it's all well and good to say rock up to the pass in Byron Bay in '69, and like, yeah, man, I'm surfing by myself. No
Yeah.
drama. It's like 3
Yeah.
foot. It's warm. The wind's not
Yeah.
that strong.
Or
Like,
Noosa.
yeah, something like that. It's like, yeah, man, I'll surf by myself. Like, I got no problems with that. But even though, mate, it was actually a little bit sharky back in the day, but it wasn't. It's not the same as
Southern Australia,
Yeah,
man,
grey
it's-
skies.
Yeah, you're out there on the edge of the earth, you know.
yeah,
and
it's
like,
different
that's,
down there.
I think that's as intimidating as the shark factor itself, you know.
Yeah,
It's just the environment. It's just fucking harsh. It's jagged. It's like
yeah,
it's remote. It's like you know.
unforgiving.
Yeah, and that's as scary as the sharks. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
And then also like paddling out at a new spot and trying to figure
Yeah.
out the new spot and being like, "Fuck, where am I sitting? How does this place work?"
You think it's 4 foot, but it's actually 6 foot, and it's got this ledge
Yeah.
halfway down that just wants to
Yeah.
kill you. It's not some
No,
buttery sand bottom point.
No other
Yeah.
people for a lineup, and
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's good. It's exciting, you know. It's fucking
And
yeah.
how far across that track did you make it?
So there's like, as we're sort of traveling along the beach, we maybe got like 300 k's along the beach, and there's kind of, as you're driving, there's sort of like, it's way off in the distance. There's this like thin blue line on the horizon. It's this big scarp,
Oh,
and
right.
so it's called the Wiley Scarp. It's named
Oh, yeah.
like, so the old telegraph line was built after this guy Edward John Eyre was the first guy to walk across the Nullarbor.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, back in the old days, they had this telegraph line going from Java, and it was connecting all these different cities.
From where did you say?
It was going undersea from Java to Darwin,
Oh, okay.
and then from Darwin, it sort of, you know, they built the physical telegraph line, and it connected all the cities along the east coast.
Yep.
But
That's so crazy.
yeah, but
it's
they
fucking
couldn't
crazy.
actually WA was cut off from the rest of the world because they couldn't actually physically build this thing across, like, you know, because it was
Across
so
the Nullarbor.
isolated from
Yeah.
Perth to Adelaide or Perth to Darwin. They just couldn't physically build it.
Yep.
And they didn't even know if there was a way, like, how to get across the Nullarbor, you know.
Yep.
So this guy Edward Eyre set out to walk across the Nullarbor. He had a companion. I think his name was John Baxter, and they had these 3 Aboriginal guides.
Yep.
And they got about halfway across, and 2 of the Aboriginal guides just got fed up. There's no water, and they just went, "Fuck this!" And they shot Edward Eyre's companion.
Oh, yeah.
It killed him, and then buggered off with all the horses.
Yeah.
And this one of the guides stayed with him, and
Right.
they kept going, and fucking they were doing
hardcore.
crazy. They were
Holy
doing crazy
shit.
stuff like digging for water in sand dunes, like
Yeah.
and
Is
they
this Air Highway guy?
yeah. So
Lake
that's
Eyre?
named the
Air-
Eyre Peninsula,
Air Highway
Air
guy.
Highway. Yeah, it's all named after him.
Yeah. Well,
And
when you walk
so-
across, I guess you just get to make up as many names as you want.
yeah.
Namu's Lake, Namu's Headland, Namu's Tree, Namu's Plain.
Mate, I used to make up my names for surf spots back in the day.
Did you?
And then I hear these days, I surfed, blah, blah, blah. And I went, that's not blah, blah, blah. It's blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I know how John Eyre felt.
Yeah.
But at least he had the names actually after
Stick.
him. So,
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Sorry, go on. That was an
so
interesting story.
yeah. So he eventually they made it to Esperance, and they fucking survived because they stumbled across this French whaling ship in a bay and
Oh, right.
managed to get food and water off them. But they'd found a route across, and finally got to Perth and was fucking celebrated as a hero. And they sent out a party to follow his, the track that he'd surveyed.
How the fuck
And
do you do that?
Yeah, they
And
sent.
It's only footprints. They're blown away the
I
next
think
day.
I think he must have like surveyed it. He must have fucking had
done
like,
something.
charts and
Yeah,
maps.
It's
and
pretty
fucking
cool, man.
Yeah,
Pretty
and
clever.
So, yeah,
Fucking ballsy.
yeah. And
Jeez.
so they started building this.
He would have paddled out at that left-hand point right myself, wouldn't he? 100%.
I saw Tom coming and he paddled in. I ain't serving anybody else.
Yeah, so
Fucking crowded.
they built this telegraph line across there. They fucking took all these like Jarrah posts on camels and steel
Holy
wire,
moly.
and just connected the fucking connected the whole thing.
But why did it go to Israelite Bay?
I think they had a station there. I think Israelite Bay. I think they used to have a big port there. I think it
Did
was
they?
like a fucking real bustling place.
Really?
Yeah, I think
Holy
like
shit.
I think they used to like all the wool. They had like a big jetty there, and all the wool from like the region. They'd like I guess use horses and take it down there on horseback, and then send it overseas from Israelite Bay. I think it was a pretty fucking happy.
Is there
place.
anything there now? Or?
There's like I think there's the old telegraph station. There's a heap of fucking like grave sites. That's about it.
That's what I was. That's all I'd expect. I mean,
Yeah.
I've never been there, but it
Yeah.
just when you look at it in a map and you've got any sort of scope of
Well, it's a pretty,
West Oz, you're like, fuck, that's a long way out.
yeah,
there,
it's a
man.
pretty godforsaken place.
Yeah.
It's crazy, hey?
Yeah.
There's so many stories in WA and obviously everywhere else as well, but so many stories in this place like Israelite Bay where there's this history there that's almost been covered up by sand and time and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
So many interesting stories that can come out of those places.
Oh, and you got to, you imagine the first people who sort of went out there and tried to make a go of it.
Oh,
you know?
holy shit.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
fuck.
even the black fella couldn't find water.
Yeah,
out there.
yeah.
I hope you have,
yeah,
like,
yeah, I know, yeah.
Mate.
Got them from the crayfish, mate.
Yeah.
And did you make it to Israelite Bay?
We did, yeah. That was kind of one of the first spots we went, and then we
Oh,
sort
is
of,
it? And then you keep going.
Yeah, we kept going from
Yeah,
there.
right. And then what, you got
Yeah,
halfway
so
out to the border and turned around and came back? or
so there
something?
was that big scarp,
Yeah.
like that. It was called the Wiley Scarp. It was named after Edward Ayre's Aboriginal companion who sort of helped him
yeah.
get along. His name was Wiley.
Yeah, cool.
And so there's that scarp that sort of, you could see it as this big thin blue line off in the distance, and slowly it started getting closer and closer and closer, and then it came right down to the coast, and right where it meets the coast, there's these fucking huge sand dunes. I think they're the biggest sand dunes in the southern hemisphere.
Oh, yeah.
Some of them were like 200 meters tall. They're
Wow.
fucking
Sick.
massive.
Wicked.
Yeah. And so, yeah, stopped there and fucking ran up the top of the sand
Oh,
dunes. and
yeah.
Just got completely sandblasted.
Grab the
Sick.
sandboard.
Yeah. And then that scarp comes down and meets the ocean, and that's where the big sea cliffs start.
Oh, okay.
So you sort of
that's
have
where
to
the bite
climb.
starts.
Yeah, you kind of have to climb up get up on top of the scarp, and then fucking just follow the top of the cliffs.
Yeah,
But it
right.
was just, it was real rough going up there. It was like travel all day and get maybe 50 k's and just
Just
get
rocky
bounced around.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're just in the scrub.
Yeah.
You know, like at least when you're down on the beach, you're down by the beach, you stop, you go for a swim, you fucking have a
Yeah.
fish. It's
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
nice to look at, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas up there, you're just getting bounced around. It's
Oh,
dusty.
mate.
And
When
after
you-
2 days of that, we just pulled out.
Shout out to the Cape to Cape walkers.
Yeah, sure. Oh man, there's like when you're doing that slow crawl over
Yeah.
rock and it's endless, it gets
Yeah.
really fucking
Yeah.
quick, doesn't it?
Yeah.
After
10 minutes.
half
Yeah.
an hour,
Yeah,
you're just like,
yeah.
"Fuck, when does this track end? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, so I could imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Oh, yeah, I find it fascinating that zone. I would love to go for a drive out there, just to feel that isolation would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Man, I'd love to go. My kids would love that sand dune. Holy shit!
Yeah, yeah.
10-meter sand dune is like
Yeah.
the best thing in the world.
It's pretty out there. It's like it's a fucking fair way to get out, but it's sick. It's like, just to
Yeah.
drive out there off the highway for a couple of days, it'd be unreal. It's
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And you documented that trip somewhere, didn't you?
I did a
Like-
bit. Yeah, I was sort of just taking photos and like filming a bit and writing and
Yep, yep.
yeah.
Where did that get? Was that in any surf mags or anything?
Yeah, there's a bit on. I think there's a bit on tracks.
Yep.
I've been working with tracks for a bit, for probably the last almost 10 years now, I think.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah. So there was a bit out there, and then just put a little bit of other stuff online, and
Yeah,
yeah.
sweet, awesome.
yeah.
And mate, where did you go from after that trip? Where did you end up after that?
I think from
Was
there
it
we.
back to Indo or?
Oh yeah, it's sort of we gunned it across to South Australia.
Oh yeah,
Spent a bit of time on the Eyre Peninsula. There's probably some of the best waves in Australia out there.
yeah, right.
Fuck.
Maybe pretty empty right now. I think
Yeah.
with the run they've been having.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And sort of spent another couple of years travelling around Oz.
yeah, cool.
That the girlfriend I was travelling with, that relationship finished, and I came back to WA and was running tours, these
Oh, yeah.
backpacker tours for a bit, for about 8 months or something.
Oh yeah, where were the tours?
We're going
Starting and going.
from in the winter we were going from Perth to Darwin. And
Oh
then-
right.
Yeah, and then in the summer we're going from Perth to Adelaide.
Oh really?
So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's some
So it was good. It
serious
was probably
missions.
the funnest job I've ever had. I mean,
Yeah.
and I guess it validated a lot of the. I guess the past couple of years I'd just kind of been. I thought I'd sort of just been bumming around doing not much, just going surfing and sitting around the fire, But then I
Yeah.
got that job, and it sort of validated a lot of shit that I'd done. I was like, oh well, fuck! Now I can get paid for sharing the things that I
No.
have learned and
Yeah.
love doing with other people,
Sick.
And I could surf. I got fucking accused a couple of times of running my own personal surfing holiday, which probably wasn't too far from the truth.
What,
you
from the
know?
customers?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah,
epic.
just try and sell it to them, like, oh, there's this really nice coastal walk here, I'll drop you guys at Sugarloaf Rock and fucking I'll drive round to this other place around
Called
at Three Bears.
yeah. And I'll
pick
pick
you
you
up
up
round
there.
you know?
That's classic, man. Far out.
Yeah.
Cool. And what sort of get up were you running there? Was it just the troopy, the same old troopy, or
No,
what
they
were
had
you
on the backpacker tours.
doing?
So my mate had started it. He'd set up this big fucking it was a big bus. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
he'd converted this old school bus.
Oh,
like
not one of
57
those
seats.
like Ocker four drive beast things.
No, it was this big 57-seat old school bus that he'd
Yeah.
fucking taken all the seats out of,
Yeah.
and he'd fucking like built a toilet and a shower, and I had my own quarters down the back, and then we'd tow a four-wheel drive behind.
Oh,
So the bus was kind of like the home base, and we'd
Yeah.
just park that up somewhere, and then just go off and do little missions in the
no
troopy.
way. That's classic.
It was the funnest job we ever had for sure.
Sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And obviously, I'm assuming you weren't exactly high rolling like your dad in London in the finance game, that sort of a job. Is that what ended it, or did it find a natural conclusion?
Oh, just kind of found a natural conclusion, I guess. I mean, I suppose it was the first time. I mean, the money, like when you work it out by hour, it was fucking pretty shit.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
I mean, the other side of that was also that I had no expenses, you know.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have to pay any rent. All
Yeah.
my food was covered, and
Yeah.
everything I got paid was just kind of straight into my pocket. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
sort of did it for 8 months straight. It was the first time in my life where I'd actually had some money, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I guess that kind of opened a few doors, and I went, well, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? And so I went over to Indo and spent 6 months over in Indo doing that first trip over there.
Oh, right. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Oh, that's pretty. I like your dedication to the travel. It makes once again come back to that mid-40s guy working mortgage. I'm just like, oh man, you just want to go traveling, you know. But
Yeah, it was hard. It was hard though as well. Just living off nothing, you know.
yeah,
Like,
but
not
you're so much more resilient when you're younger, and
It's
you don't
true.
need as much, man.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and it was always just. I guess I got used to it over time, but I was always just sort of wondering where the next paycheck was going to come from and how I'm going to survive. And
Yeah.
I remember one time being at a servo on the Nullarbor and fucking filling up the car with fuel and like going to pay for the fuel, and I didn't know how much money I had left.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if I was going to be able to pay for it or not. And going, fuck.
Yeah.
And then I'm standing there in line for the checkout and just get this notification on my phone. Bing, you've just been paid.
Oh, sick.
Fuck, that was lucky.
Yeah, well, because even if you had enough for that servo, you're on the Nullarbor. It's only a matter of 3 or 4 hours, and you need another servo, right?
I know, yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
It's a brutal road if you've got millions of dollars in the bank in terms of petrol, because you can run out so easy.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
have and people do.
Yeah.
Fucking $2.50
Oh,
$2.50 a litre for diesel at the fucking Nullarbor Roadhouse.
Oh,
too.
for sure.
They don't miss
Hectic.
you. Yeah.
Sick.
And the rest, jeez.
Yeah.
I'm just going to jump forward a bit here. You were riding for Stab at the recent Margie's Pro. So have you done some work for them? How'd that sort of come about?
I haven't, nah. So
Okay.
I was coming back to WA. I was going to do some more of that tour guiding work. That fell through. And then I hit them up. I'd had a little bit to do with them before. I'd pitched them a couple of stories, and they're kind of going, "Oh no, we're not sure." And I just sent them I knew the editor and sort of said, "Hey mate, I'm back in WA for a bit. Have you got anyone covering the comp? I'm around if you need someone." And they were, I think they had a guy, Nathan, who had sort of agreed to go down there and do it, but I think he had a few other things going on, and they asked him what he wanted to do, and so he was cool, and we sort of ended up working on it together, and I was sort of doing the comp reports, and Nathan was doing a bit of other stuff around the comp.
Yeah, if I know Nathan, one thing I know about him is he's always got other stuff going on. That's for sure.
Oh, it's our mate Nathan.
Nathan
yeah,
Lynch,
of course.
yeah.
Lynchy.
Yeah.
Shout out to Lynchy.
Yeah.
International money laundering expert.
Yeah.
Check out his book, The Lucky Laundry by
Yeah.
Nathan Lynch. It's a fucking crazy read.
Yeah.
Fuck, he's a good writer. I read something. They published something on Stab about kind of the origins of surfing in Margaret River. It's a fucking ripper read.
Yeah.
He's a smart dude as well. Lynchy.
Yeah.
We always joke about, we never know, because my wife is good friends with him from years ago. They used to do gigs together. Nathan and Mel, they were called. The duo. They used to do a three 3-set gig at Cave's house.
Yeah, right.
Set 1, set 2, and set 3 was best of set 1 and set 2. So I didn't have enough songs. we always used to joke, what's Nathan doing today? Because you'd not hear from him, and then all of a sudden he's on Today or Sunrise or whatever, marked as an international financial expert or whatever, and he's being interviewed. You go, what the fuck? I thought you were just I thought you were... Well, yeah. He's an enigma.
He is, yeah.
Wrapped in a mystery.
Yeah. For sure.
Nice guy, funny guy too.
Good guy, yeah.
So, mate, who pays more, Trax or Stab?
I mean,
Can you say? Don't answer if you don't want to.
I think the thing with Stab is it's a bit more immediate, you know.
Oh yeah.
They're online. I think tracks are good, but it just takes a bit of time. It's I might write a story, and then it might be a month or two before it gets published.
Yeah.
And then it might be another month after that before advertising funds roll back, and it's after you've done the work, it's kind of 3 or 4 months before you get paid, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas, and I guess if you got, if you got something sort of ticking over for them all the time, it's all right, you know. But Stab's a bit more immediate, and I like the feedback of the online thing. The feedback's just a lot more immediate as well.
Yeah.
You write something and you know straight away whether people are frothing or not. You know?
Yeah.
Comments
Yeah.
board.
Yeah.
It's
Comments
interesting.
board's the best thing on the internet.
Yeah,
You know?
unless you're doing a shit job.
Yeah.
I was curious about that actually. I don't know if you've got any insights into this, but obviously the surfers on tour, they get prize money for certain placings and all the rest of it. Any idea about how long it takes for them to get paid that money?
I don't know. That's a good question, actually. I don't know what the deal is. You see them all with this fucking huge check.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they actually walk into the bank with that check and cash it in. It'd be a funny sight. You know?
Well, I always remember a story about Tom Curran back in the day, walking around at some after party with the actual check. It was like 10 grand or something, which in the 80s, which was like 100 grand now. Stuck to the bottom of his shoe. He'd obviously dropped it and stepped on it. It was like toilet paper stuck in his shoe. And someone was like, "What's that?" And it was like, "Oh, that's your 10 grand check." So that one sounded like it was pretty immediate.
He was too baked.
Because it wasn't. He wasn't walking around with one of those massive novelty ones stuck on his shoe. You might have noticed it. But
How about those novelty ones? How the fuck do you fit one of them in your suitcase?
what do you even do with those things?
Yeah.
You just
I
give
don't
them
know.
back.
Because Chippo obviously did really well in the comp at Margaret River, and he was saying, stoked because it's gonna. I think he won, quarterfinal. They maybe make 16 US or something.
Oh, more than that. Mate,
I don't know.
I think last place is like 10 grand or something.
Yeah, man.
but I think
10
I
US.
think
Yeah,
first is like 80, second's like 50, and it drops pretty quickly down.
Ah.
I could be wrong, but
Mate, because I remember a young wildcard. We won't name him now, but friend of the potty, young wildcard last year, and he didn't make any heats, and he ended up with like 15 grand.
Yeah, right.
yeah, but that'd be Australian. This is 16 US, which is probably like 23 or something.
Oh yeah.
Either way, I know that Chippo was saying stoked because it's gonna help me out with the Changas.
If you made the quarters, I would have thought you'd be looking at least 30 US or something.
Yeah, I think it drops pretty quickly from
Does it?
like 80 to 50 to
Yeah.
maybe 25
I guess,
semis, and
Yeah, I guess, the more people there are for it to be divided around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they got to incentivise the big victory too.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
But either way, I think it's a good chunk of change for him to smash the Changas and
Chase the Changas.
yeah,
Yep.
'cause we don't know how much there is in terms of monetary value these days. And
No.
just chasing that stuff.
Well, back to Tommy, mate. Let's
sorry,
hit him
Tommy.
with a couple of our favourite questions, shall we?
Yeah,
We're at that time. I think we've had a pretty good
Why not?
timeline out of what he's been up to, mate.
I've been checking your Instagram, and I probably know a couple of relatively sort of accurate answers to these.
Oh,
but
yeah?
Go ahead. Azzy.
Okay, give us your mate. You've done a fair few travels. Give us your worst travel, your worst surf trip, or your worst travel experience so far. Because I always enjoy these ones.
Yeah, fuck.
Could be you got skunked. Could be someone stole your motorbike. Could be you got dysentery
Malaria.
or something like.
Yeah. Try and think of something off the
Bird
top
flu.
of my head. Yeah.
Bat flu.
I don't know. I guess a lot of the surf trips I've done have not always been about surfing. it's more about an exploration of the place and kind of some of the like looking for stories as well. So I guess even if the surf's not that good, it's like it's sort of tended, I think if I was only going out there looking for waves, I'd be disappointed. But and I think to travel in that way and to go to some of those places, a lot of those places, if you did just go out there looking for surf, you would be disappointed,
Yeah, I suppose that's a good way to be doing it. If you got that time, then
yeah, and it's also a way to, I guess, make an income from it as well. It's like, we'll go out to this place and do this thing, and it's like, well, there's stories out here as well,
Yep.
The problem there, though, mate, is like myself and Ads, you might go somewhere and decide to write a story, but no one's going to care.
No,
I read a bit of your writing now, and you're a fucking good writer.
Yeah,
so
he is,
it's
man.
I really enjoyed your reports from Stab over the weekend. So that's must be nice to know that you can do that.
It is, and I guess it's taken a bit of time and a bit of struggle to get to this point. There's kind of a lot of things that I've gone without to sort of be able to get here. I guess I've gone against the grain a bit. And I guess I've done that because I maybe all the stuff that I went through at an early age, it helped me to discover, I guess, what I really want to do and what my true purpose is, And that was, I think writing was really something that helped me. I mean, surfing was obviously one big thing that helped me sort of get through that. And I think writing was another thing as well. Writing really gave me purpose and objective and intent. And, I think that and surfing and travel, I mean, they're three kind of things that tie in really well together. Man,
I suppose being a journalist, mate, it's definitely a bit like being an artist in a way too, isn't it? Like you say, you've gone without a few things. You could just go to the mines and clean dunnies for 120 grand a year, and it's pretty bulletproof, and you save up a deposit for a house and whatnot. But being a journalist is definitely throwing it to the wind a little bit and going, man, it's pretty cool. You've just got your pen in your back pocket and a notebook, and you travel around and you can turn that into work somehow, which is pretty awesome. But by the same time, there's definitely a level of uncertainty about it as well, that you can't just go up to the bank and go, mate, look, I wrote these stories. How about you lend us 800 grand for a piece of shit in the lakes? That's where it's at these days.
For sure. It's a different kind of lifestyle, and it's not for everyone. And there was a lot of uncertainty in the beginning, and I guess I kind of just got used to that. And over time, things have gotten a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better. So it's like now, it might be at a point where other people look at it and go, oh, still like I couldn't do that. It's like, there's too much uncertainty. But I guess for me and kind of the stuff that I've come through and where I've come from, I guess, now I'm starting to get to a point where it's sort of starting to kind of get towards that I don't know, maybe not comfortable, but at least definitely a bit more stable.
A bit more consistency.
Yeah.
And I mean, the thing is with any writer, I mean, you could just hit the jackpot too. You could write a book and it could just take off and all of a sudden you're cruising. I mean, I don't know, it might be the minority, but it's a possibility. Like an artist, isn't it? You might do 1 million paintings and then all of a sudden one of them just for some reason or another sells for a shitload of money and you're all good. So,
even after you're dead.
Generally.
A lot of artists seems to happen too.
That sucks a bit.
And I guess it's, also sort of having dedicated this much and put this much into it over the years. I mean, I've got to this point, it'd be a shame to sort of give that all up and walk away from it now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And mates, how much inspiration do you draw from Hunter S. Thompson?
Yeah, I read a lot of his stuff when I was a bit younger.
Oh yeah.
He's a cracker. I mean, I guess some of it's pretty sensational. It's kind of like, oh, did this fucking really happen or what?
Yeah, well, mate, never let the truth tell me, It's going to sell copies. I mean.
You've actually read a bit of Hunter S. Thompson, has he?
Oh, mate, not a lot, but I just know what he was up to. I don't know. He just seemed like any journalist with a bit of flamboyancy in their stride would put him on a bit of a pedestal, I would have thought.
Yeah, but
he was a mad dog.
I think in his early days he was really fucking good, and I think he got to a point where he, maybe all the sort of success went to his head a bit, and he just fucking got completely cooked. And
That's pretty normal.
Got completely cooked.
Yeah.
So maybe not a Hunter S. Thompson fan. Who are some of the writers that you sort of take inspiration from?
Oh, I think Hemingway's got to be up. I think like one of the I don't know. I think one thing I really aspire to in writing is, I think one thing that's really great to see is when somebody can say something in the least amount of words possible, and it's what they don't say that kind of has the most meaning, It's the things they leave out.
Yeah,
And I think Hemingway's really good at that, He kind of writes in this really terse sort of style where he doesn't say a lot, but it's like it's the spaces in between where he goes, well, it's actually more important what you decide to leave out than what you actually put in there, And yeah, I mean, some of the things that you leave out, people can still feel them. If you know about them and you know what you're writing about and they're there, but you choose to leave them out, often they're in the piece as well,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just blows my mind.
That was a pretty fucking sick answer.
Yeah.
Right answer.
Yeah, so that's one. I think that's kind of something I always really aspire to, is to, and I guess it's like a lot of other things, It's like, why have all these? If you've got a machine, why have all these bits in the machine that are just fucking useless and don't have any function, are just spinning and just doing nothing, I mean, the best machines are always the most simple machines. They're the ones that kind of last forever and just keep going. And yeah, I mean, I think writing's the same,
Yeah. No, epic. Like I was saying, I've really, really enjoyed your wrap ups of the comp. So I know they're comp wrap ups, right? But do you find yourself being able to really sort of express yourself in the way you want to write stylistically in that sort of environment?
I think stab's good, and I guess I think that's the one thing writing about surfing as well, because it's like I'm able to write in a way as if it's just us sitting here having a yarn like this, You're just fucking around and having a yarn and it's not too serious. You can sort of be a bit funny and take the piss a bit, and yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the great things about surfing, really, isn't it? And I guess. Yeah, it's, sort of able to do that through writing, but I guess surfing kind of also brings that to our lives as well. It's like life's not something to be taken too seriously, It's sort of have a laugh and muck around and have some fun and not take things too seriously, and that's what it's all about, I guess. And
Yeah,
It's definitely the luxury
Yeah.
if you can afford it.
Yeah.
It's the ideal way to live. isn't
yeah,
it?
it's kind of like playtime,
Yeah.
It's like,
Not everyone can do it, obviously, if you're in a war zone or some shit like that.
Yeah.
But still, that's the dream, to live free and not take it all too
But I
seriously.
mean, even if you are working in a war zone or something,
Yeah, I
if you're
suppose.
if you're working in a war zone, you come back, you go surfing. It's fucking.
Would you like to document a war zone? I mean, that
I've
seems to
thought
be a
about
bit of a pathway for a. Yeah, okay. Actually, no, I'll come get one in a sec. Cheers. Yeah, I mean, it seems a lot of journalists.
good,
It seems
cheers,
like a bit of a sort of almost maybe a feather in the cap or a challenge, or to go and get in a war zone. I'm not really sure why. Obviously, there's a lot of excitement and thrill to it, but
Yeah, it would be interesting. I mean, it'd be a pretty challenging thing. I can't even sort of fathom how it would impact you, and
Yeah.
But it would be a pretty. I like going to places where there's kind of a bit of drama and a bit of action and a few things going on. And
yeah, cool.
yeah,
Maybe not a war zone though. It's, I mean, fucking hectic.
yeah.
A lot of journalists get knocked off, in war zones. It's,
Yeah.
I guess it's part of the, part of the job to a certain extent. Part of the risk
Excitement.
involved with
Yeah.
it, but jeez.
No, pretty hectic. All right,
Yeah.
well, let's go back to some of our simple surf questions. Mates, best tube ever?
Ooh.
Oh, there's one I had recently that be pretty up there.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I don't know.
WA or Indo?
No, it was in Indo.
Yeah. Cool.
And it was at a spot sort of way out in eastern Indonesia, and I'd kind of heard about it a bit.
Yep.
And a lot of people went, "Oh, that wave's fucking pretty scary."
Right or a left?
It's a right. It's
Yeah.
a long
And you're
right.
a natural footer, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yep.
And a lot of the waves there are really in front of, like, a lot of the waves are just in front of cliffs and really hard to get to.
Okay.
And I knew of this wave, and a few people had sort of told me, they said, yeah, it's really an A-grade wave. It's fucking pretty good.
Yeah, cool.
And we were sort of hunting it there. We sort of went down and had a look a few times, and there was kind of a swell towards the end of the time there. And it sort of went down the first afternoon, and you could see the potential. It was kind of onshore and kind of shit, and I sort of went, I'm just going to paddle out just so I can get a feel for the reef and figure out fucking how to actually get out there and what to do. And so yeah, like this place where we went down there, went and surfed, and there's like a couple of families who were staying down there. They just got like a couple of little huts on the beach, and I like it's really hard to find. I mean, for them to go and get food and like stuff from the shop, they got to sort of drive for 40 minutes back into town.
Yep.
So I brought down some coffee and some fucking vegetables and some rice and gave them all that and said, look, here's all this. Do you mind if we stay here for tonight and just get up real early and surf tomorrow? They're like, yeah, no worries. And
Sick.
just sort of, rolled the board bags out in this little veranda and
Did you?
slept out there and then woke up the next morning and it was solid. It was like, like it was fucking right in front of these cliffs and it's kind of a gnarly wave because like there's so much, it's kind of in this cove sort of thing, but it's kind of like a deep water sort of reef. And there's so much water like moving down, like down the reef. And then right down the end, there's just this fucking big island. It's like not even a patch of reef. It's like this huge island and the water's like running down into this island. There's kind of like a little gap in between the islands. So all the water's rushing down there and then you've got swell coming from around the other side of the island as well.
Wow.
And it's like rushing back out past the island into this fucking
crazy sounding setup.
into this big like 10-foot shorey.
Wow.
So it's like pushing you down into this
Crazy.
island and then fucking sucking you back out and then pushing you back into the island again.
Wow, that's insane.
So it was just like
I can't even imagine that.
Yeah,
almost,
it's just-
even though you've described it.
yeah, it's just like
Crazy.
like down the end was just not a place you'd want to end up. You know, it's like if you fucking end up in the wrong spot down there, you
Trouble.
You could die. You know.
Yeah.
And there's actually when we were sort of down there camping, there was like a procession of all these people that came down the beach. Like
Digital nomads.
No, as far from the digital nomad as you can get. There were
Actual
like,
nomads.
Yeah, actual nomads. Yeah. Very at the old analog nomads.
Yeah,
you know?
analog nomads.
So they came down and they fucking had these goats and these chickens that they were going to sacrifice down the corner at the beach.
All
Because
right.
a couple of fishermen had died down there a year before and they're sort of making an offering to the fishermen or something.
Right.
So the second day I
That's
surfed.
Fucking cool.
Yeah.
Keep going. This is a great story.
Yeah, second day I surfed and it was like really tricky wave. It's more like surfing a deep water reef like here in WA or in Hawaii or something where it's real shifty and kind of rogue and fickle and not really offshore, but there were some fucking perfect ones as well.
Yeah.
Sort of like 8 to 10 foot, the odd bigger one.
Oh wow.
And there were a couple, I sort of, the day before I'd kind of figured out where to sit on the reef. Like there were kind of a couple of peaks, like the peak kept moving around and so all right, this is the spot, this is where you want to sit. And then it kind of stands up and bowls and then just fucking hits this ledge on the inside and just goes square.
Yeah.
And I was sort of sitting out there and there were fucking couple of 12-footers that just broke like way out on like a different ledge out the back. And I was just going, fuck, I hope my leg rope holds up. 'Cause
Yeah.
just like right in front of the cliffs.
Yeah.
And that first day I got a couple of waves, but nothing really that good. And the third day I paddled out and I got one that was just fucking, I don't know, it can't even really, it's all sort of a bit of a blur. I can't even really remember what happened, I just remember taking off and fucking going through 1, 2, 3, 4 sections and like, I remember going through one section. I was like, oh, I'm pretty deep in this, and just fucking spat me out and like pushed me into another section. And I was even deeper through the other section, just kind of fucking
crazy.
bounced over the foam ball and sort of popped out down the end. It
Oh
was-
man.
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Wow.
So-
What a magical best barrel that is in
I
just some
think-
far-flung corner of a strange ass
Yeah,
island.
I think just for the effort that I'd put in just to kind of get that one wave, it sort of made it all worthwhile.
Yeah.
I mean, going all the way out there and fucking camping on the beach and sort of putting in the time to try and figure that wave out and just kind of being a little bit scared out of my wits with the end section and the cliffs and
The weird
big
island
wave
with
and-
the bloody
yeah,
whirlpool swirling around.
yeah,
In
yeah,
fact, it was 10 foot.
Yeah,
that's
and
a
then-
factor. Yeah.
Yeah,
For
and
those
then-
things.
yeah, and then finally getting one, it's like fuck, that sort of made it all worthwhile. That was sort of
Oh, that's sick,
kind of
man.
all worth it. Yeah,
Just you out there.
just me. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
What a story.
Yeah, my mate was filming on the beach and like a couple
Oh,
of.
did he get it on film?
Yeah, he got it on film.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he got
Oh,
he got a real
sick.
good
Oh,
drone
is this the one
shot
on
of it.
Instagram?
Yeah.
You
So,
gotta say this.
Oh,
yeah, he got a real good. He sort of. I told him I was like, oh, just film with the drone while I fucking walk up the cliffs because it's a fucking pretty good shot of, like, it's a real scramble to get up there. You kind of have to walk along the base of these cliffs, along all these like burley style fucking boulders,
Yeah.
and then paddle out sort of right in front of the peak, and it just fucking sucks you right across, like right back down to the end section. You wouldn't want to mistime the paddle out.
Yeah, right.
And I said, I'll just send the drone up while I'm walking there because it'll be fucking good shot, like at the base of the cliffs. It's kind of
Yeah.
a big natural amphitheatre.
Yeah.
And then I paddle out, and he must have thought, oh, I've got the drone up. I'll keep it up there for a bit.
Yeah.
And fucking, yeah, he like I think it was second wave or something.
Right.
I got that one.
And he
it was-
nailed it?
Yeah, he nailed it. He got a
Fucking
fucking
legend.
sick shot.
Good on
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
And can you see the crazy island, that other island you're talking about, in any of those shots? That
You can.
I'm
There's
just
like
really intrigued.
yeah.
It sounded like
Yeah,
such a
there's-
weird water movement. that
Yeah,
you're
yeah. It's like
describing.
there's just all the water running down the reef, and then there's like, there's kind of the island there. There's like a little channel, there's like a little channel that kind of runs back out on the inside of the island, sort of around the bottom of the reef as well. So.
Cool.
I must
Sounds
admit, I
exotic.
wasn't watching for the island, but
No.
yeah, fucking
I know.
solid.
No.
Solid.
Yeah.
It's big.
Yeah. And
Awesome.
the drone,
Fuck.
the
Tommy's a
drone, the
fucking
drone
mad dog.
shot kind of makes it look like, I guess looking from above, it sort of looks a lot smaller as well.
Yeah.
Sort of looks like it's like you're just overhead or
Yeah.
You can kind of judge it now, though, I reckon, because watching so much drone footage at Margs, and it just looks so much smaller, and you see it from in front, and go, oh, that's
Yeah.
it looks like
Yeah.
a 3-foot wave, and the drone, it's like fucking 6 to 8 foot.
Yeah.
So you can, I reckon, adjust the scale, as the judges say.
Yeah.
It's fucking
Yeah.
9.5.
So
Tom.
that'd be up there. I think that's probably, and I guess it's probably one of the freshest that's in mine. as
Yeah.
well.
Oh, mate, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, good story. Because all we wanted out of that was didn't have to be exactly your best barrel. It just had to be a good story.
Yeah.
We got that out of it,
there's
so
nothing
that
like
was
a
good.
Yarn, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of variation in the best barrel stories. That's a fucking cracker one.
It was a good one. And
Yeah.
on the flip side, Namu.
Worst wipeout, my friend.
Fuck, it'd probably be the same island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes it even better.
Yeah. So there was another wave I was surfing, and the day before I sort of local guy said to me, "Oh, it's probably really good up there. You can kind of see it. It's sort of
A local surfer or a local?
local surfer. He's kind of got this homestay. He's
Oh, yeah.
surfed out there a bit, and it was
Okay.
kind of glassy and clean and pretty solid.
Yeah.
And he apparently you can only get there by boat. Later we found a way to fucking scale down the cliffs and walk down there. But
Yeah.
so this same guy had a ceremony that night, and he was opening this. They fucking they have this ancient belief system there, where they their idea of God is basically the spirits of their ancestors, and so they bury people at the front of their houses, and they often have these like animalistic rituals to kind of as like an offering to their ancestors. So he'd built this new house,
Yeah.
and like as an offering to his ancestors to fucking welcome them into the house, he like sacrificed all these pigs.
Oh, yeah.
So there were like 11. He sacrificed like 11 pigs.
Right.
Fucking like 200 people came down, and everyone's on the piss, and
Really?
fucking all these pigs just got stabbed through the heart with a big wooden like spear, and
Awesome.
fucking they like burned all this spear grass and like grilled them on the spear grass a little bit. Just
Bubby Gouling.
yeah, and then sort of
Sick.
cut them all up and divided every little piece with everyone who'd come.
Yeah.
So I was up there fucking all night in the piss, and then next morning got up real early, and the boat driver drove me out there to this wave, and
Were you the only white person at the ceremony?
a couple other people from the homestay came.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
a couple others sort of came and had a look.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone else there was fucking
Indos, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
And yeah, so like got to this wave, and you sort of couldn't really there's not really a channel there. It's right out off this fucking headland, and it's a left and a right, and it's sort of like a big open ocean sort of playing field, and it's kind of right in front of these cliffs. And there's not really a channel, so you couldn't really see it. So I fucking jumped off the boat and I paddled over, and I was sort of watching it from the side, and I kind of saw a couple. I was a little way away, so it was hard to gauge how big it was. And I paddled over there, and fucking sort of thought I was in the spot, and this fucking like 10-foot set came out of nowhere,
Ooh.
and I snuck under the first one. I kind of almost snuck under the second one. I duck dived and sort of just got under it, and it fucking. That horrible feeling when you're just getting sucked backwards.
The
and
weightlessness.
Yeah. So it sucked me backwards, pinned me to the reef, fucking ripped my leg rope off me.
Oh.
And so the next wave, I was sort of in the worst possible spot. And I went, well, I'm fucking in front of these cliffs. I can't bail my board. Just got to try and duck dive.
Yeah.
And tried to duck dive, and
How did you have your board though? If your leggy got ripped off?
So I duck dived, but still held onto it and got pinned to the reef. But yeah, the fucking leggy got ripped off. So, yeah.
Oh, so you're
Like
holding onto your board
Yeah,
still
yeah.
and the leggy came off.
Yeah, it fucking got
right.
ripped off, but the board was kind of right there and close. So I grabbed it, and
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then went to duck dive this next one, and just got fucking obliterated.
Oh,
The board
yeah.
just got fucking like the board ended up in like 3 pieces.
Oh.
Yeah.
Heavy.
And I fucking pop up and I look and see the board. I was like, fuck, I'll try and get the other half. And I'm just getting fucking washed towards the cliffs, like pinball towards the cliffs. I went, fuck the board, just leave it.
Yep.
And like there was just, there's no channel at all. It was just kind of closing out.
And was it bouldery, like you were saying
Yeah,
on
it
that
was
other spot? It's not.
Yeah, similar sort of thing. Like,
So it's not sharp coral. as
oh,
such?
it's limestone, so like
Yeah.
pretty sharp, but like
Yep.
big, these huge fucking limestone boulders and
Yep. Yep.
yeah. And I was sort of thinking, fuck, I'm in a bit of trouble here, you know. And it's not like I can just go in. It's like the boat's out there. I got to try and get back out,
Yeah. Right.
like through the waves, back out to the boat.
Jet ski rescue.
Yeah. And so I kind of swam under 3 waves, and the current was pretty fierce. I was sort of getting whisked like down along the edge of the cliff line, and fucking fortunately the waves stopped, and this huge rip just sort of started tearing out and just sucked me back out.
Yeah. Right.
Fucking waved the boat driver over, and
Wow.
yeah. And so
Ooh.
yeah, like the board was gone, fucking
Yeah.
completely gone.
Oh,
And
for sure.
I sort of like a couple of weeks later, I'd heard that there's like maybe a way that you could walk down. So I rode around to this village and fucking asked the villagers if there was any way down, and they kind of showed me a way down, and ended up fucking finding the back part of the board. Like
Really?
Yeah.
With the fin still in it?
I got the fins back. I wanted to get the
Salvageable
fins back.
fins?
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Everything else is just destroyed. Someone had come down and pinched the leggy.
Oh,
There was
had
like there was a fucking empty pack of durries next to the leg where the leg should have been.
You go back into town and someone's cooking a bubby gulang with a leg rope from tree to tree, just spinning a bloody pig on it. Classic.
Mate, good you got your fins back. What sort of fins are they?
Oh, they were
FCS?
they were these. It was a.
Pictures?
I was on a Banksy, so it was he's I don't know. He's before I started riding his boards, I used to hate twin fins. I used to go. I felt they never had any drive, never had any hold, and he was raving about them. And he sort of said the trick with his is the fin base. Like he's got this special bottom contour. It's like a double concave V, where the fucking V is almost like an extra fin. It sits up way out of the concave.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was saying the tricks in the fin base, like the base of these fins that he's been shaping are like 13 inches. So he reckons you've got like a standard thruster's got like a 5 or 6 inch fin base. So two of these fins have actually got more fin base than like almost twice as much fin base as a standard thruster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of wanted to get them back. They weren't cheap. So.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I've heard about that. I think he did a potty with Ain't That Swell, maybe?
Yeah.
Next year.
No,
And
he
he was
did a-
going
he did
on about.
Podcast with Broward Surf Podcast, mate.
He did, yeah.
Remember T-Bone?
Yeah,
rode
drove
in
around
him,
with
was
him,
driving,
yeah.
driving around,
But,
picking up blanks and stuff.
I know that one with Ain't That Swell. He was really going on about those 20s and
Yeah.
Yeah.
all what you were saying
He
about. And I
pushes
was
them.
like, man, they were pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I'd love
And
one.
I think I don't know. I think he's kind of a bit ahead of the. I think he's a bit ahead of the curve as well. I think like now a few others, the 20s are becoming kind of popular, and a few other guys are sort of starting to clue on and sort of experimenting with that bottom shape as well. I was talking to him the other day, and he was saying he was pretty stoked because I think it was that Chris Christensen was saying that he's been experimenting with like that double concave V. And he was saying, yeah, that's fucking really hard to get right. But, I think there's one guy's got it right already. It's Jim Banks.
Oh,
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been doing them for a long time and he's pretty sold. He reckons, in 10 years, it's probably going to become a surf industry standard.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
Is
So-
Banksy doing any alternative material stuff?
He's doing a lot of flax stuff
He is,
now.
okay.
He's been trying to get me on them. I mean, I've always gone with the PU, I guess, just because going to remote parts of Indo, you ding a board and
Yeah.
PU's just, just whack a bit of duct tape on it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a bit easy to fix, whereas,
Yeah.
the epoxy, like a little bit of water gets in it and it's a fucking nightmare,
Going
Yeah,
over.
Yeah. So, yeah, I've
Is
got
it-
one on order from him now that,
Okay.
see how it goes.
How much roughly for one of his 20s? with
Um,
those fancy fins.
He's been doing us a bit of a discount. He hooked us up the last trip we went on. We've sort of been giving him a bit of stuff, and
Yep.
he's kind of been giving us a few tips and ideas of where to go. And so that first trip to Java we did, but I think a standard. I think they're not cheap. I think they're sort of between $1,200 and $1,500 or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, which is pretty normal.
But Jim
Yeah.
Banks.
Yeah.
It's Jim fucking Banks.
Yeah.
But they're unreal boards. They're the best. They're
Yeah.
the best boards I've been on for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah,
Sick.
and especially in good waves, especially in good hollow waves, they just seem to find their own way through the tube. It's like you don't even have to do anything. You just fucking stand there and the board just propels you through.
I sort of say Jim Banks is up there with like your MRs and your Simon Andersons in terms of the shaping, icons.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't think he gets the recognition that he deserves as well either,
Yeah. Well, here it is, here on Drums.
Yeah.
Jim Banks, you're a fucking legend shaping icon.
Yeah, sick. All right.
Yeah, he's still surfing too. He got coned out of his mind in the Padang Cup.
Unreal.
Legend.
He's still ripping.
Yeah. So, Adzi, what else have you got in your standard questions, mate? I'll lose track of it a bit.
Oh, mate, yeah, well, there's a few.
I think that's it, though, right?
Yeah.
Wipeout, surf trip.
Oh, there's definitely plenty more, but
let's have
we'll wrap it up soonish and
let's jump into a
Steve's.
Yeah, a bit of a Steve and Clive. Tom, are you across the Clive Palmer Cup, mate?
I'm not. No.
All right. Well, the Clive Palmer Cup is. I forgot about this, but it used to be called the Nick Kyrgios Cup.
Yeah, it did.
It's basically an award for someone in surfing or otherwise who you think it's just an absolute fucking tool, essentially.
You get to out them for being
It can be a concept. It can be.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a person.
A group or anything. For instance, a lot of the time I just go backpackers generally, even though we've all done backpacking. And my other favourite one is people that don't pick up the dog shit. So have a think about it. Adzi, have you got one?
Oh, nah. I didn't write it. I didn't even think about it myself. I was sort of more focused on Tommy's things, and now we're just chucking him under the bus with a on the spot question. Mate, when we throw it to people and we didn't give them any warning like we did you, people probably a bit tentative to get negative about something. So if you don't want to, then unless something has been burning a hole in your pocket and you want to out it, and feel free, rip in.
Well, I think
but you don't have to.
The most recent thing that comes to mind is fucking probably looking back at the comp and the WSL walking away from fucking 10-foot pumping glassy marks to finish the comp in fucking the 1 foot dribble.
Yeah. No, that's a great Clive Palmer Cup for sure. Perfect.
Yeah, I'm 100% with that one.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
And then, on the flip side, then
well, let's just do Tom. Steve Irwin salute is for you fucking legend. What have you done? What someone, something, or some group, or some concept that's
you want to give
really
a double thumbs up to?
Floated your boat recently,
Steve Irwin style, double thumbs up.
Fuck. I don't know. I guess it's fucking pretty good to be back at home, mate.
Yeah.
To be back in Margs and see all the crew and just be around and be surfing and I guess it's just fucking good to be back here and I mean I've missed it a bit. I suppose I never really realised how much I miss it until I come back and go it's actually pretty good down here.
Oh mate, it's better than pretty good. It's fucking awesome. Just you go to Indo, and Indo's awesome because you're never cooking, and you got all this just Indo, all the great stuff, and then you come back and you're just like, oh man, it's pretty fucking good here. Like, just that cleanliness, and
it's just easy to leave the house and do stuff.
No hassle to do things.
In Indonesia and other parts of the world.
Traffic and pollution that you get a lot of over there, I'm sure would weigh on you.
So I guess all the crew down here. It's good to be back and fucking back amongst it for a bit.
Sick, mate.
Yeah,
and mate, just to finish it up, unless Namo's got anything.
I've got a Steve Irwin before we go.
Oh, okay. Go.
The last couple of weeks have been pretty fucking manic for everyone involved. I actually got two. The first one is the community aspect of all the different events that happened over the last couple of weeks. The film premieres and Jazzers and Ned Hart's thing and all the rest of it. Just heaps of really good events that been really inclusive for the community in the Southwest. So congratulations to everybody for putting those together and being so welcoming to everyone. It's been some really fucking sick things. And the other one was just around the event. I was just stoked with all the different personalities around the comp. There's the support workers and the chefs and the commentators and the people switching and the camera people and the video people and, just so many different personalities and roles go into making a CT event. So I thought it was epic how there was just so many different crew around and so
And
many
they all
people.
love it.
Yeah, loving it and just happy to have a chat, you know. So many crew were just sort of coming up and saying, "G'day," and what are you up to? And I'd say, "What are you up to?" And yeah, lots of good conversations about just so many people connected with surfing in that one little competition.
A few of the crew I met who'd sort of travelled around and done the whole Oz circuit as well were saying that they felt that especially in Margs. You know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they said almost everyone I spoke to said this was their kind of favourite stop. You know.
Yeah,
They said
right.
people here were just fucking super friendly and welcoming, and everyone was just, you know. They're saying, yeah, places like the Goldie and Bells, people are sort of a bit standoffish and, I don't want to step on your toes and do this and that. Whereas
Yeah, right.
here it was sort of like, oh, how you going? What can I do to help you? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome to hear.
Yeah, cool.
Nice one.
Mate, just to wind it out, I'm sure you got plenty more stories for us, but we can save them for next time you come on. Mate,
There will be next time.
there will be next time for
Yes.
sure. Mate, just where do you go from here, and where can our listeners and our good selves just follow you and keep up to date on your adventures and your stories and stuff?
Yeah, so I'm going back to Indo next Wednesday.
Yep.
Yeah, sort of chip away, keep working for a couple of months, and then we're going to, me and Filippo, filmer, we're going to do another trip to West Java in sort of August, September.
Yep.
But yeah, follow me at Stories from the Scenic Route. And yeah.
Stories from the Scenic Route. Is that your
Stories from the Scenic
Instagram
Route. That's my
thing?
Instagram, yeah.
Yep. So you can
Yeah.
find all the up to date stuff there. And,
Yeah, most active on there.
and then
Instagram.
just keep out. Are you doing like any full travel pieces that aren't surfing?
I will, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll do something soon. I've sort of been working a bit with the Oz, with the Australian.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, been
The
really-
Oz for
yeah.
those in the
The Oz.
Yeah.
you know.
the Weekend Australian magazine.
Yeah. Cool.
Been doing a bit for them, so yeah, we'll do some stuff from the things we just did in Sumba.
Yeah. Cool.
And then other surfing stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, hopefully a couple of things in the Surfers Journal soon, and a bit in Tracks, and a bit more in Stab Mag. So
Yeah. Cool. And the doco. Where's the final goal for that? Rough release time as such. I know if you're only halfway through filming, it's a long way away. And where what's your aim to publish that documentary? Is it going to be trying to sell it to a Netflix or something, or will it be publish it on YouTube and get your own thing going?
yeah, I think the end goal is kind of a 75-minute feature-length doco.
Yep.
Something that we'll be able to tour around.
Yep.
Yeah, sort of put into a few film festivals and take on tour and sort of take around the country and, you know, maybe other parts of the world as well.
Yeah.
But I
cool.
think all the footage we've got so much, and there's so many different things we can do from that. I mean, I think we'll be able to do some stuff for TV as well for some of the like news broadcasters, and we've been talking a bit with Al Jazeera. And yeah, I mean, I guess there's so many different formats and different things that we can do. But yeah, the end goal is kind of that 75-minute feature-length doco.
Yeah. Cool.
So hopefully by this time next year, it's sort of out touring around,
Just
chipping away.
yeah, mate, and just remember to always summon your inner Albie Mangles, and when you're on that desolated island in the middle of nowhere, it's like, oh look, there's a camper over here. It just happens to be a hot Swedish 23-year-old. And oh, what are you doing out here by yourself? Oh, mate, it's uncanny how he always bumped into those chicks out in the middle of it. So hopefully you can take a leaf out of his book and continue the great tradition of Australian documentary makers.
Fuck, whatever happened to Albie Mangle?
Oh, mate,
Well, he died of fucking
gonorrhea
gonorrhea.
in the middle of the desert where there's never been a case.
Can you imagine during that time frame, you're either sort of Albie Mangles or one of the fucking Leyland brothers.
Yeah. It's like,
Probably
who would
just
you rather be?
having brotherly sex.
Hey,
and
Malcolm, look over here.
Albie Mangles is
quick.
just absolutely dominating the
Yeah,
scene.
dominating.
The
other
Leylands
ones
have got
are
some. Yeah, anyway.
It's like, hey, quick, come and have a shot. Get a shot of this over here. Look, there's fuck all over there. Get a shot of that. That was the Leyland brothers.
Pan
And
across,
Albie,
pan across to Albie Mangles, he's just in the bushes. Going, yeah, fuck yeah.
mate, he was a king, wasn't he? What a legend.
Oh,
mate,
classic.
that's pretty cool. All right, man. Well, thanks heaps for coming in, Tommy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's been
thanks. Cheers for
enjoyable.
having us on, boys.
Yeah, sick. And we
It's been a pleasure, mate. Thank you so much. And yeah, last words, Azzy.
see you in
something.
the see you in the surf, man.
See you in the archipelago.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you've been listening to Barrel Surf Podcast. Tom Desouza. Thanks for joining us, Tom. Catch you next time. The three microphones we're using there, so
Yeah.
and this one here is just so the intro and outro music.
Oh, yeah.